Good morning and welcome to our 98th weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way the call works is I answer all questions. This is an AMA, meaning ask me anything. And the call ends in 3 hours. You can ask me business questions, personal questions, career questions, anything you want to. Now, I answer the questions in the order in which I receive them. So if I overlook a question by accident, or if I don't answer it correctly, please put me on the spot because I want to humbly help if I possibly can. Now, we have an MBA degree program that many of you know about, and I teach live in class starting every December. It goes for 1 year. I have an on-demand version as well, and I mention this because we're starting to accept students later this week for the gold version of the MBA degree program and the silver version. And let me explain what this means. So if you go to my website, it's harouneducation.com. You'll see here, and you click on just FAQs and pricing. I've got a silver version, which you can sign up for right now and start taking the lessons immediately. It's 300 hours, and it's a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. I also have a gold version, which is the same thing as silver, except it starts in December, and I answer questions live, and I provide you with more than 200 hours of live Q&A for small classes. Then I have a platinum version, which is the same thing as the silver version and gold version, except you get several hours of one-on-one time with me coaching. And I coach live on Zoom or in person if you want to, if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area or you're visiting. So for more details on this, please go to harouneducation.com and just click up here on online MBA degree program. Again, we are going to start accepting students later this week, and then it becomes a rolling admissions basis. If you have any questions about this, you can go to my website and go to the FAQs, or you can just ask me here if the question's not answered online. And thank you as always. And it is hot in here, man. All right. Okay. Good morning, Manas. Hope you're doing well. First question is from Shulam, who's saying, "Hey, Chris, hope you're doing well. Likewise. I'm currently in my pre-final year of undergraduate. Will you be admitting students into your MBA degree program every year in December?" Yes. Yeah. So the in-person version, meaning not just the entirely pre-recorded version, the in-person version where I actually answer questions live and do one-on-one coaching, starts every December and lasts for 1 year. And I actually have a bunch of students that are already in MBA school that are also taking my MBA degree program. I have a student from Notre Dame who's taking the program. He's in Indianapolis right now doing his MBA degree program, and he's taking my program at the same time. I also have a number of other students that already have MBA degrees from Thunderbird, and we have other great schools represented like Cornell and much, much more. And so the first class started in December of 2019, last year, and I had 160 students, but 2 dropped out and got their money back. There's a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. If you just go to LinkedIn and search for anybody that's taken my MBA degree program, contact them, ask them for feedback if you want to. Ask them for the negatives first, and then the positives, whatever. You can also see many different references from students all over the world on my website at harouneducation.com. Just click on the MBA degree menu item to read much, much more about it. And we record it all in 4K. And actually, you only view it in 1080, but it's future-proof just in case. And by the way, if you have a high-end monitor and you're watching this YouTube live event right now, if you go down to the little gears icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your YouTube screen, you can actually watch this broadcast now in 1440, which is much better than 1080p. So anyway, it's been fun. I can't believe it's week 98 already. Yeah. But you're welcome to join us, pardon me, even while you're in business school or while you're in undergraduate school. We have actually a number of other students, pardon me, that are actually in undergraduate school right now, including several in India. And so for the inaugural class, meaning that the gold and platinum version, We have students from 41 different countries. Yeah. All right. Next question is Shubham is asking, what is your fondest memory while you were working in the industry? Yeah. So for me, when I worked in the finance industry, my fondest memories were always helping people that I worked with or people in different divisions in the same company. And there would always be that uncomfortable conversation my boss would have with me when I worked on Wall Street. Right before bonus season, they provide me with feedback. And I'm humbled to say that I did fine whatever. They said, Chris, you're exceeding expectations. But it was uncomfortable for them because they would always say something along the lines of, however, if possible, can you please maybe spend a little bit less time mentoring people in different departments? And so for me, my fondest memories were when people that worked with me or in different departments achieved milestones and goals, because I don't believe that you can accomplish all of your dreams in life unless you help others accomplish theirs first. Okay. I got this special throat spray here that opera singers use when they're starting to lose their voice. My voice is fine. Just give me 1 second. It's called Throat 37. And I'm not sponsored by anybody. Yeah, but it works for me. All right. I love helping people. It makes me happy. And I used to think years ago, maybe I'm depressed. Why is it I work so hard and I get these jobs on Wall Street or in the venture capital industry or consulting or hedge fund industry, and I've started many companies too. Why did I get these jobs? And my happiest day is the first day. And then I realized that if I helped somebody every day while I worked for other people, it would make me feel much happier. And I thought, something's wrong, man. There's got to be something clinically wrong with me. Why is my happiest day when I get the job? And then after that, it goes downhill. And I realized it's because I'm not doing, or I wasn't doing, what I'm passionate about in life. And there's a great quote from Mark Twain, an amazing poet in the United States. And he said, the two most important days in your life are, number one, the day you're born, and number two, the day you find out why. And so if you're not happy at work or you're not incredibly passionate about what you're doing, it's because you haven't found your purpose yet in life. Keep searching. You'll find it eventually, I promise you. It took me to my 40s to find my passion, which is teaching. And I absolutely love doing what I'm doing. I really, really love it. And you'll know you found your passion in life, professionally, work-wise, when you get up in the morning and you tell yourself, I'm not going to work. I'm going to do what I love doing. Or another way is this. When you look at your clock in the middle of the night and it's 3 hours before you're supposed to get up and you're like, oh, good, I got 3 more hours to sleep. Well, you'll know you found true love, work-wise, passion-wise, when you look at that clock and you say, oh, awesome, I've got 3 additional hours today that I can dedicate towards my passion. It's hard to find what you love doing, but you got to keep searching for it. And you have to make sure that you don't listen to anybody else in your life that's telling you what you should do. You don't want to be a prisoner in someone else's mind. I've got this great quote right here by Steve Jobs. It's, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. And for those of you that have kids, there's this incredibly euphoric feeling that you feel the second you hold your first child. And it unlocks a level of happiness you never thought you could possibly feel. Now, when you do something you love doing, passion-wise, it's that same feeling. Not as good, because kids are more important, of course, but you feel that joie de vivre. You feel that deep down inside, that passion and that love for life. If I can humbly help you to find what your passion is in life, your raison d'être, then I feel like I've done my job. And that's the reason why I teach, is I want to help as many people as I humbly possibly can. And during the month of March, when we had this awful COVID outbreak, and it's still getting worse here in the United States, unfortunately. It's awful. But during the month of March, I actually felt guilty because my business went up a lot. That's just not cool. And so what I did was I gave away 1 million courses. to students all over the world, including about 80,000 signed up in Egypt, which is cool because my dad's from Egypt originally. And I was worried about Egypt because you have millions of people that live close to each other along the Nile. And so I feel like if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And what happened was when I gave away those million courses for free, we were flooded with questions. So I had to hire a couple more people to answer questions. But we're all in this together. And wherever you are in the world, if you're going through tough times right now, I'm so sorry to hear that. And if I could be of assistance to you or help you in any way, please let me know. All my courses, there's a 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. The same thing with my MBA degree programs. You can sign up for all of them, take them, and get your money back after 30 days. Oh, one more thing. For anybody that's taken my complete job course, I have a 100% lifetime money-back guarantee. I don't care when you've taken it. And so if you took my complete job course years ago and you have proof that you took it and you didn't get the job of your dreams, just let me know and I'm going to give you your money back. And the way to find that course is you can go to my website here. And I've changed careers so many times. And I love helping students as well. So go here to my website, click on online classes. And then if you scroll down, you'll see my complete job course here on Udemy. Again, I offer not a 30-day money-back guarantee. I offer a 100% lifetime money-back guarantee. It's a 12-hour course, and I'm humbled to say I've helped close to 100,000 people find a new job and find their passion in life. And I've interviewed over 1,000 people in my life. That's one per week for more than 20 years. And I know what it takes to get you your dream job. And so take that course. And if it doesn't work out for you, there's a 100% lifetime money back guarantee. And so if you're not sure how to get your money back, then just send me a message over LinkedIn and I'll take care of you. Give me your PayPal and proof that you took the course as well. Okay. All right. Next question I've got is Shubham is saying, Mark Cuban said that when you go into a sales pitch, you don't convince them to buy anything, but rather show them how you will make their lives better. What is your take on this statement? Yeah. And that couldn't be more true than it is today because it's so competitive selling your product or service now that I really do believe in the freemium business model, meaning you give it away for free and then you upsell. And you have to add value immediately. And if you don't add value before somebody buys the product, then you're not going to be competitive. You're not going to make it longer term. A company is only as good as its customer service. And I believe with my products, for example, you can get a 30-day 100% money back guarantee in my courses and my MBA degree program. But you can also take about 10% of the lectures without ever signing up. So you have to give, and then you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Give and you'll receive. Now, there's a wonderful book called Give and Take. And in that book, the author brilliantly analyzes the most successful people in the world. And this is the bottom line of that book. The poorest 1% of people in the world, the people with beautiful souls, heroes to me, like Mother Teresa, they give. And they never really receive. Maybe they receive joy and love and happiness and karma. The middle 98% of people in the world are takers. They're more avaricious. Now, the top 1% of people in the world are givers as well. A lot of billionaires are givers. And they were before they became extraordinarily wealthy. Not that I respect you more for being a billionaire. I don't. But if it turns out that a lot of people become incredibly successful because they helped others. You can call it karma synchronicity, call it whatever you want. But it's a proven fact since the beginning of time. If you give, you will receive in the long run. But you got to give with your heart and love helping as well. So again, the richest 1% of people in the world, they've been givers since the beginning, since they were kids. And that's why they're successful. And a lot of my successes in life, and there's not that many, and every time I humbly talk about myself and my successes, I have to show you a poster from Michael Jordan. He said, I failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. But many of my humble successes have come because I've actually helped people. And I didn't do it because I wanted something in return. I genuinely did it with my heart. And we have to have the exact same mindset as well. We have to help people in business and in life. And if you give, you will receive in the long run. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. And Mark Cuban has, speaking of Mark Cuban, in your question, he has this great quote. He said, a couple quotes actually. Ideas are commodities, but execution is not. And I completely believe that. And the problem with traditional business schools, MBA programs, is they don't teach you the most important things in life, like business life, I should say, like how to file your own taxes, how to get a job, how to sell, etc. And Mark Cuban also said that ideas are commodities and execution is not. And business schools don't teach you how to analyze management teams. It doesn't matter what the product or the service is if you're not investing in the right people, because the jockey is always more important than the horse. And Mark Cuban also said something else very prophetic, as usual with him. He said, you only have to be right in business one time. That's it, one time. And so you and us, all of us, we need to fail over and over and over and over again and just make it big one time. And the way to make it big is to not give a damn what anybody thinks of you. And I'm not telling you to be rude or disingenuous. I'm just telling you to keep trying and keep failing. And then you'll make it big. You'll make it big. I promise you. But you got to fail a lot. You got to fail a lot. Like all the most successful authors in the world, Agatha Christie, C.S. Lewis, and many others. They were rejected by the top publishers in the world tons and tons of times. They failed more times than we have. But they made it big because they just didn't give a damn what anybody thought of them. And every failure that they had got them that much closer to success. And every entrepreneur that we know of, all the greats, they failed a gazillion times. We just don't hear about it. Oprah Winfrey, she failed over and over and over again, and she didn't give a damn about anybody's opinion of whether or not she can make it big in the media industry. She didn't care. Bill Gates failed as well. He, along with his business partner, the late great Paul Allen, before they started Microsoft, they started a company called Trafo Data, where they would count cars. It failed. It failed. We just don't hear about the failures from all these successful people because it's not interesting, but it is motivating. So do a search for your favorite business icon and the word failure in Google or in Bing if you work for Microsoft. Sorry. And you'll see that they failed many, many times. And it's really, really inspirational how they never gave a damn what people thought of them. And you've got to live at that level, just not giving a damn what people think of you. Because as Steve Jobs said, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Because the worst thing that can happen is you wake up and you're old and you're stuck in a dead-end job working for this jerk that pays you this much money to make their dreams become a reality. Take that risk. Write that business plan. Take my complete business plan course on Udemy. I promise you, it will help you start a successful company or your money back. There's a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. And I really do believe that if you chase money, you lose your dreams and your money. But if you chase your dreams, as long as you're willing to fail at least a couple times, please fail at least a couple times. If you chase your dreams and you fail a bunch of times, the money will come longer term accidentally. It always does, no matter what anybody tells you. Don't listen to the naysayers in your life. Cut off everybody in your life that brings you down. No one's making you hang out with them. Kind of like when you were younger and your parents would say, I don't want you to hang out with that person because they do drugs. And you're like, Mom, Dad, they don't do drugs. They did drugs. You know what I'm talking about. So your parents try to control your environment then to protect you. I want you to control your environment right now to protect and preserve your dreams so that you can reach your full potential in life. Cut off everybody that brings you down. Okay, next question is, for someone with almost zero work experience, what could be the topics of articles I can write about on LinkedIn? Yeah. So I believe that thought leadership comes from within. It's like the Rodin sculpture. I think, therefore I am. And whatever you're most passionate about in life, you have to write about it. You have to opine, give your opinion. You've got to vlog about it as well. Make videos. Share your brilliance with the world. So whatever it is that you love doing, write about it. Because the way you become a thought leader is it's self-fulfilling. You write about it. And for those of you that want to take your career to the next level, I've got something amazing for you. I want you to write a book. And everybody can do it. And so many of my students have done it for free. And here's how. Go to my website. I'm not asking for your email or anything. Okay? Go to harouneducation.com/write-book. Whoops. /write-book. The older I get, the better it was, man. Oh, here it is here if you search for it too. Oh, cool. But I want to type it up here. harouneducation.com/ all one word, write-book. And you can click here to download an easy and free to use book template that I use to write all of my books. And I've got a couple of them right here. So I wrote these books here using this template I'm going to give you for free. Okay. This book is called Networking to Get Customers a Job or Anything You Want. And you can get this for free, by the way, by downloading it from my website at harouneducation.com. And this one here, I wrote back in 2015 when I worked full-time in venture capital. And I'm humbled to say that Forbes magazine called it one of 6 books all entrepreneurs need to read right now, along with Peter Thiel's book and a bunch of others. I don't deserve to be on that list. But these books I wrote using this template here that you can download. And there's 1 page of instruction. It costs you nothing. And this will tell you how to publish it on Kindle. This will tell you how to publish it on Amazon Print, and it costs you nothing. And this website here, they rebranded it recently. It will still forward to the right website. And this here is how to get it on Audible. And so when you write your book after you're done, read it and record yourself reading it and put it on Audible. And this is a great way for you to proof check it as well for grammar or spelling errors, etc. Then what you do is, if you want, you can spend $5 on a website called Fiverr. That's Fiverr.com. And get your cover made. So the template is really, really easy to use. If you have a browser and Microsoft Word, you can write a book. And you just fill it in. And this will tell you about all the legal stuff as well. If you want to copyright your works. I'm not a lawyer, but I go to LegalZoom.com and anyway, I get it done there. And I don't get any compensation for mentioning LegalZoom, please. And then what you do is you fill in the book. Then you right-click on the table of contents and update your book, the table of contents. It's that simple. And imagine going to a job interview or meeting with a customer and being able to show them your book. Who does that? How badly do you want that job? Or that to get accepted to that school, whatever school it is. Yeah. So if you have additional questions about this, please let me know. But anybody can do this. It's really easy. All you need is a browser and Microsoft Word. It's simple. Yeah. Hope you guys like my new bookends here. This is a bear for bear market. This is a bull for bull market. And they call it that because running with the bulls, in Spain, unfortunately, it's not occurring this year because of COVID. But just think of it as the market is running up. And a bear market, it's called a bear market when the market's going down. Just think of The Remnant, that opening scene with Leonardo DiCaprio. Not a good thing to think about early in the morning, Chris. Yeah. Okay. And Shubham, what I want you to do is after you write your book, I just want you to take 1 chapter every week of your book and put it on LinkedIn. And maybe make a video about each chapter as well. And I find that short chapters work better especially because people aren't willing to read a 5,000-page editorial in the New York Times or Washington Post anymore, at least as much as they used to do in the past. I'll speak for myself. But small chapters work well. It's kind of like reading a Roald Dahl book when you were younger, like James and the Giant Peach, where each chapter is short and you feel like you accomplished something every time you finish a chapter. Keep your chapters short and copy and paste once a week a different chapter and put it on LinkedIn. That's how you become a thought leader. And Shimon is saying, I just finished reading your networking book today. And you wrote, thank you for sharing it so generously with all of us. And I love the goal setting exercises. God bless you, Chris. You're someone to look up to. No, thank you. God bless you way more. Way more. Yeah. And you guys can all get my my networking book from my website. It's harouneducation.com. And I promise you, it'll help you in your career. I promise you, it's free. It's free. And I learned the hard way over the years that relationships are more important than product knowledge. And your network is your net worth. And the difference between school and working is that when you're in school, if you work exceptionally hard and you get good grades and you keep your head down, then life works well for you. Your parents are proud, whatever. You're proud of yourself as well. That's more important. The problem is when you enter the workforce, the real world, and you keep your head down and you work really hard and you notice that other people around you are getting promoted faster than you and other people around you are getting raises, but not you. And the reason is because if you want to get a raise or a promotion, you have to ask. Nobody's ever made CEO without asking. No one's ever gotten a date without asking. I had to ask 8 billion times, obviously. You won't get what you want in life unless you ask. And that's the crux of networking as well. And your homework is to do a search for three words in YouTube as follows. Steve Jobs ask. That little video will change your life. But you really have to network a lot and find mentors as well in whatever company you work in. And not only find mentors to help you out, and people will help if you ask, but I want you to mentor others as well. Because when one teaches, two learn. All right, put this guy back here. I got these, by the way, from Etsy, and I also got this this sign down here from Etsy from Michael Jordan. Yeah. All right. I used to have cars on my wall when I was a kid. You know, posters of cars and. Why can't we have posters of great quotes now, too, now that we're older? Or at least I'm older. I'll speak for myself. You can. Okay. Thank you, Shimon. I appreciate that. You wrote, Thursdays are better because of you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. And then Konstantinos is saying, greetings from Greece, Chris. Hey, hope you're doing well. And my wife is half Greek, actually. Yeah. And so we have the most incredible food here at our house. And Yaya, Christine's mom, is an unbelievable cook as well. And tzatziki tastes good on everything, period. Yeah. So, and you wrote, thank you for your amazing advice and courses. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you. What is your advice for a graduate targeting? What is your advice for a graduate targeting research and development jobs? Is it worth pursuing a Ph.D. rather than starting an entry-level job? Yeah. The only reason that I think that you should go to a university is if you've tried very, very hard to network to get the job of your dreams and you can't get it, then you should go to university. Otherwise, I think it's actually a waste of money. I do. You know, undergraduate institutions are 4 years. They cost $100,000 and you have 13 hours of class a week and you graduate not really knowing how to be successful in life. You don't learn how to sell. You don't learn how to raise money. You don't learn how to file your own taxes. You don't learn how to manage your own money. You learn how to manage other people's money if you study business. You don't know how to present either. So I think that doing everything online makes a lot of sense. Now, when it comes to R&D, if it's technology you're looking at, you can retool by taking courses on how to program. for next to nothing online. Why do you have to go to a big institution so that they can bless you as somebody that is allowed now to be successful in the real world? And what kills me about universities is that a lot of very wealthy people, their kids go to great schools, the top schools. Does that mean they're smarter than the rest of us? No. A lot of times it's because their parents made a donation or there's legacy. Maybe their parents went to that school. And this is a big pain point for me, and it kills me. And it's one of the reasons I do what I do. I think that education is a fundamental right, kind of like the right to air, freedom of religion. I think that everybody should have free access or very affordable access to education online. Because with education, you can fix every single problem in the world without exception. And I've got a great quote from my hero Malala over there. She said that one child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. She also said with guns, you can kill terrorists, but with education, you can kill terrorism. I really do believe every problem gets fixed by education. And for more details, you can watch my TEDx talk online. The title is How T Can Solve Every Problem in the World. TEA, Technology, Education, and Acceptance. Yeah. But I think what you can do is you can learn new skills online. You don't have to go and get a Ph.D., which I think stands for plumbing, heating, dishwashing. Just kidding. That was my first dad humor of the morning. Okay, sorry. And when you get older like me and you have kids, the dad humor actually gets repetitive. You repeat the same jokes. It's happening. It's happening to me. Yeah. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'm like my dad. I love you, Dad, if you're watching. Yeah. So I don't think you need a PhD. The only doctor program you should take, so to speak, is if you want to be a medical doctor. That's it. You don't need a PhD to be successful in the R&D sector. You can learn online for next to nothing. Okay, next question is from Kim. Kim is saying, hi, Chris, hope you're doing well. I sent an idea for your 100th webcast via LinkedIn yesterday. Hope you received it today. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's in 2 weeks. It's crazy, eh? Wow, 100. We've come a long way. The very first webcast I did almost 100 weeks ago, nobody was on the webcast. And I was just sitting there, and I had to actually prepare a little script for every webcast early on to just talk about general filler stuff. But I want to thank you all for supporting me and being here every single week. God bless you and thank you. I'll check out that LinkedIn you sent me. Thanks. And Kim is saying, do you think the government should be requiring people to study short online courses at home now to help improve their knowledge, skills, etc., while receiving stimulus or unemployment insurance? Yeah. I mean, I don't think government should force anybody to do anything. However, I do think that education fixes every problem in the world and that governments globally should use Singapore as a role model. So Singapore allows every single person in the country to spend $500 annually for free. They get extra $500 for education, online courses, etc. And so I think Singapore is a role model. And I think that if you combine Singapore and the teachings of Malala, then the world becomes a better place. I've got that great poster from Malala over there. I think education fixes all problems. And I don't think governments are doing enough to make sure that education is affordable and available for all. But now that a lot of people are staying home, unfortunately, because of COVID, they have no choice but to learn online. And it looks like Harvard University, I think they just announced that they're canceling classes for this year and next year. And I don't understand why people would spend over $100,000 to study from home when you can take courses online for $10 that will help you much, much more in life because they'll teach you tangible skills you can apply right away in the real world. I think educational institutions like universities are in secular decline. I think the top 50 schools will make it globally, but I think that the rest of them will go belly up. It's like the buggy whip industry. Education, or old educational institutions, meaning attending classes in class in person, it's like a buggy whip. And it didn't matter. And buggy whip, by the way, was used for horses. And when Henry Ford invented the car, the Model T, it didn't matter how awesome your buggy whip was if you produced them as a company. They were going into secular decline anyway. And so I humbly believe that traditional universities are buggy whips. They're in secular decline. And so again, I think the top 50 will make it longer term. But I think that the others will go belly up. I do. And what will happen is initially the other schools that are going to go belly up, what they'll do is they'll dip into their endowments, and then they'll deplete their endowments, and then they'll go on a massive fundraising campaign, leveraging their alumni, and that will kind of help. But then they'll be done. Because it's just a bad business going to university, spending 4 years there with 13 hours of class a week, not learning anything you can apply in the real world, and being over $100,000 in debt. And it's not fair because a lot of people don't have access to that anyway. So I think universities are in secular decline. Next question is Shuvik is asking, first, please pronounce my name correctly. It's Shuvik. I did. I said it just like you spelled it. Yeah. You wrote, thanks. Okay. And please pronounce my last name correctly. It's Haroun. Haroun? Something like that. Yeah. Actually, when I was a kid, we used to go out to dinner as a family, and we'd wait to get our table, and they would page us. They would say Haroun, party of six, or Haroun, party of six. My last name is Haroun, which rhymes with baboon. Now you'll never forget it. And that was my nickname as a kid. They called me Baboon. Then they just called me Babs. Yeah. Like Barbara Streisand. We're the same. Next question is, what's the most important parameter in a balance sheet? Well, if I had to pick one thing, it's cash. Cash is king. Yeah. Aside from that, what is most, if I could rephrase the question, what's the most misunderstood aspect of a balance sheet? It's deferred revenue. So what happens is this. If you sell something to a customer and you give it to them, they just bought this converter, you give it to them, then that's revenue, right? But if you sell something to a customer, they give you the money, but you don't give it to them yet, you haven't earned that money. So that's deferred revenue, which is a liability on your balance sheet. You can't recognize because you haven't actually, services haven't been rendered, you haven't delivered the product yet. And so when you analyze balance sheets, I want you to always look at deferred revenue. And when software companies report earnings, what I used to do when I worked in the hedge fund industry and on Wall Street was I wouldn't just look at revenue. I would look at bookings. And what that means is this. Revenue we know we get from the income statement. Deferred revenue we get from the balance sheet. And so bookings is equal to revenue plus the change in deferred revenue. Okay, meaning last balance sheet versus this balance sheet. And if you look at bookings, again, which is revenue minus the change in deferred revenue over two balance sheets, then you'll understand how robust the pipeline is for that company. Next question is, what's the most important parameter in the income statement? Yeah, it's without a doubt sales. And a lot of people think that financial modeling is really complicated. It's not. All you have to do is you forecast what sales is going to be, which is the top of the income statement. That's why they say, what's your top line? That's sales. And the bottom line is earnings, because it's at the bottom of the income statement. So all you have to do to forecast a company's financials, largely, is forecast sales. Okay, and sales and revenue is the same thing. And then almost every other item on that income statement becomes a percent of sales. So focus most of your time on forecasting sales, and then look for patterns in previous quarters that companies have reported and find out what percent of sales each expense line item is. Most of them, it works that way. And once you figure out sales and some of the expense items, which are percent of sales, then making your financial model is really, really easy. Next question is, what is the most important parameter in a cash flow statement? I would say net income. So the way that the cash flow statement works, for those of you not familiar with it, is if you look at an income statement's a lie. Why is it a lie? Because you would think that if you take the income statement, which is revenue minus expenses, you get net income and you think, okay, great. That means I have this much more cash in my pocket. That's not true, because there's a lot of non-cash items that go into your income statement, like depreciation, amortization, etc. And so what the cash flow statement does is it basically tells the income statement to tell the truth and tells you what your real cash balance or the difference in how much cash you have now versus last quarter is. And so what happens is the cash flow statement starts with net income, and then you add back a bunch of non-cash items or deduct non-cash items. So, but I do think that net income is the most important part of the cash flow statement, because you can't build a cash flow statement without first understanding what your net income is at the top before you add back or deduct cash or non-cash items. Joao, how are you? Joao is saying, happy Thursday, Chris, and thanks once again for another day of learning from you. Thank you. Then you wrote, may God continue blessing you and your family. Thank you, and God bless you and your family a billion times more. Thank you. And when I get up every day, what I do is I always thank God for 10 things in this order. Andrew, Matthew, Dylan, those are my kids. Christine, my wife, my mom, my dad, my brother, Jamie, my sisters, Katie and Elizabeth, and then my students. Okay. And if Katie and Elizabeth are watching, I reverse that order every now and then. Okay. And Andrew, Matthew, Dylan too. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Kim is saying an idea for my 100th webcast, which is in 2 weeks, is testimonials from people you have given your courses away to, how they've taken your good deed and paid it forward with acts of kindness or service to others. Thank you. Thank you. And you wrote, thanks, Chris, for all you do. I appreciate that. Thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, and that's a great idea. Thanks. And it kind of reminds me of the Jimmy Kimmel show, where you read out mean tweets or that sort of, well, the opposite of that, actually. Yeah. And by the way, if anybody wants to make a business course that's similar to mine, the student wins. It's called Educational Darwinism. And so before you make a business course on Udemy or online, I want you to go to my courses online. And at the bottom of all my courses, you can see all the ratings. And I have, I think it's like 100,000 people have made reviews. 5-star reviews are great. 1-star review is the worst. What I want you to do is I want you to filter, and you can do this on Udemy. I want you to look at my 1 or 2-star review ratings and see what the problems are with my courses, of which there's many, and make a better course. Because I believe, again, in educational Darwinism, and the customer, who's the student, wins. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. Manas is saying, bonjour, monsieur. Bonjour aussi. Je veux faire le grasse matinée. Petit déjeuner is down here somewhere. Where is it? This is petit déjeuner. And for those of you that speak or that don't speak French, for those of you that do, I'm sorry for butchering your beautiful language. Okay, it is romantic. It's one of the greats. But petit déjeuner means small breakfast. Yeah. And by the way, there's kale in this, there's acai, there's every antioxidant you can think about to give me energy and help me think gooder and speak gooder too. So Manas wrote, bonjour, monsieur. Hope all is well, likewise. Bon jeudi, happy Thursday. Greetings from my side, likewise. Your book is going, the book that you're writing, cool. The book is going great, and I'm feeling great whenever I'm working on it. It will be ready on your table by the time you're on episode 101. Awesome. I love it. Okay. And I'm taking a couple weeks off, actually. So you got more time than you think. You got like a month. And when it's done, let me know in this webcast, and I'll go on to Amazon and I'll buy it. Nobody's allowed to send me books ever, because I take great pride in buying and supporting my students. Buying not buying my students books. I didn't get much sleep last night, okay? Yeah. But I can't wait to see it, Manas. Thank you. And thank you, Manas, for all the social media support. I really do appreciate it. Ramon, how are you? Ramon is saying, hi, Chris. Hi, everyone. A wonderful day to all. I sent you an email regarding the scholarship for your MBA degree. The subject is scholarship application, Ramon Pereira Jr. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. Ask and you'll receive. Yeah. So if anybody wants to take my MBA degree program and you want a scholarship, you can email me today at admissions at harounventures.com. Again, it's admissions at harounventures.com, and ask for a scholarship. Ask and you will receive. Next up is Manas is saying, so what about the copyrights in those formalities? How much time did it take you to complete your copyright formalities? Yeah. So the first time I did it, I actually went to a website called LegalZoom. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'll never give any legal advice. Plus, I don't get along with lawyers. Unless you're a civil rights lawyer, then I love you. But all you have to do is, if you want to get to put the copyright in your book. And by the way, copyright means you protect the content within your book or code or music. Trademark means you protect the brand name, like the brand name of my book, which I've done as well. So go to LegalZoom, and what you can do is you can click here on intellectual property, and you can file a copyright to protect the content of your book. And then you file a trademark to protect the brand name of your book. You don't need to file a patent, because a patent is protecting the way you do something. So if we go here, what you can do is learn more about this, and you can give them a call. And LegalZoom, it's $15 per half hour. It's pretty cheap for a lawyer. I think you have to do 6 months minimum commitment first. And then you can hire one of these lawyers. It might cost you a couple $100 to do a copyright and a trademark as well. I do it sometimes myself now. I figured out how to do it by going to copyright.gov. So anyway, that's what I would do. I would go to LegalZoom and try to ask them to do it. And once you learn the process, then you can do it yourself. Yeah. It takes me a couple hours now. Like, the copyright's pretty easy for my online videos. Basically what I do is I put them on a little thumb drive, and you have to put them at the lowest resolution, and then you mail it into the government. Yeah. And then trademarks takes a little bit less time, because all you're doing is you're just filing a trademark for the brand name of whatever your product is. Yeah. But it takes me about a day now. I'm pretty fast at it because I've been doing a lot of it. But then it takes like 6 months or so, and sometimes longer, until it's approved. And sometimes you'll hear of like commercials on television. You'll see patent pending, or you'll see it written down. It's because the copyright offices are really, really backed up. And so sometimes just saying patent pending, meaning it's in process, can somewhat protect you if somebody infringes upon your patent. Talk to a lawyer first, though, please, for more details. And Ramon is saying things have been chaotic recently, and it seems like more is to come from China with the resurfacing of the bubonic plague. The things that you do are indeed a great help for everyone in times like this. And, thank you. Thank you. No, we're all in this together. We're all in this. And anybody can do what I'm doing. And if you want to teach online, I'll show you how to do it for free. Okay. And everybody has something to teach. Everybody does. There are people that have made millions of dollars teaching how to bake bread online. And people have made way more than that teaching how to play video games online, like Ninja. And so Ninja is this successful guy that makes millions of dollars streaming Fortnite. And he started out actually on Udemy teaching how to use Twitch, which is Amazon's video game streaming platform. And so let's go there, actually. And let me just go here in a private mode so it doesn't open up my Udemy numbers. So if you go to Udemy, Twitch, and I'm going to show you how to... Keyboard not working? Udemy. And in a second, I'm going to show you how to get a couple free courses of mine on how to create an online course. But if you go here, go to Udemy, and search for the word Twitch. Here he is. This is Ninja. Got my profile page within Udemy. Let me click here. All right. And what you can do is just scroll through these pages, and you'll see that I have a bunch of courses that are free on how to teach online. So here's one of them. It's called Another 40 Tips on Making a Great Online Course. And it's based on 40 mistakes I've made over the past year teaching online. So you can work smarter and not harder. It's free. And I have another course that's called Just 40 Tips on How to Make a Great Online Course. So you can take these courses of mine and you get 80 tips on how to be successful online based on the millions of mistakes I've made teaching online, so you can work smarter, not harder. So this one here is about 4 hours long. Yeah. And I pride myself in teaching based on my mistakes as well. And if you work for somebody that's a schmuck, the silver lining is that you're learning what not to do. Sometimes in business, you can learn more from working for somebody that shouldn't be managing people than you do working for people that should be managing people. And so you can learn from failures too. So that's a great quote from Michael Jordan, which is, I failed over and over and over again in my career, and that's why I succeed. So take my free courses on how to teach online, because everybody has something to teach. Everybody can have a side hustle doing what I'm doing. And all you need is an iPhone or an Android handset and internet connection, which you all have. Okay. Next question is from Manas, who's asking, what skills do I require if I'm working at Oracle? Yeah. So Oracle, for those of you not familiar with it, is a very large database company located a half hour south of me in Redwood City. It was founded by Larry Ellison in the 1970s. And Larry's first client actually was the CIA. And he created a database for the CIA called Project Oracle. And that's why he calls his company Oracle. Now, Oracle has got more successful entrepreneurs coming out of it than any other technology in history. It's true. And one of the reasons is because in order to make it at Oracle, you got to be thick-skinned, of course, but you have to be an incredible salesperson, especially if you're working in sales. If you're in engineering, a little bit less so, obviously. But Oracle does have a lot of type A people that work there that are aggressive, very, very positive attitudes as well. And because of that, and because of the fact they can sell, a lot of them are successful. For example, Mark Benioff, who runs the largest company now in San Francisco called Salesforce.com. He actually started at Oracle, and he was the youngest vice president in Oracle history at the age of 26. And he can sell, man. He can sell. I mean, he makes something boring called cloud software sound exciting. He can sell. Nobody can sell better than Mark Benioff. Tom Siebel also came out of Oracle, and he started a company called Siebel, which got bought by Oracle on September 9th, 2005. I remember that deal very, very well. What else is there? There's a lot of other people that have come out of Oracle that are incredibly successful. The founders of NetSuite as well, which used to be ticker N, which Oracle bought again. Oracle buys a lot of software companies. Yeah. So, and for more details on what it's like working at Oracle, or any company for that matter, the best way to do due diligence to find out how much you can make working there and what the pros and cons are is you can go to Glassdoor.com. And if you register here, register with a nickname. You don't want other people to see your name. And if we type in Oracle, and for some reason it has me in Boise, Idaho, where I live right now. I don't. But anyway, if you want to work for, actually, let's do this again. Let's go to San Francisco. I don't know why it always defaults there. It's weird. But if you go here, you'll find out how much money you can make working at Oracle. So this is a BD representative. You can make 40 to 50K. I think it's more than that, actually. This one here is Client Success Associate, where you can make 40 to 103,000. A DBA, which means Database Administrator, you can make 58 to 100K. But you can make much more than this, actually, at Oracle, because what happens is a lot of times you get compensated based on how much stuff you sell. And so there are people that work at Oracle that sell software that make millions, especially if they pass their quota and accelerators kick in at the end of a quarter. So click here for salary. You can read up on it as well. Software developers make about 150K there. Plus you get stock options as well. You can find out what the benefits are to work there as well. So excellent healthcare benefits, a great retirement savings program, and all that great stuff. One of the issues, though, to be intellectually honest, is that looks like the rating is only 3.6, which isn't that great. You know, most companies have much higher ratings here as well. So before you join a company, make sure that you go to Glassdoor, do research on them, and find out not only what the benefits are, but what the ratings are as well, and read the positive and negative reviews. Kind of like before taking any of my courses, read all the negative reviews and the positive ones as well. I just want to be intellectually honest and make sure that you're prepared going in before you start working at a company or before you start taking my courses. I want to cover the positives and negatives as always. Okay, Ray is saying, hey, Chris, I listen to your webcast while exercising, and it makes it really fun. Here come my, thank you. I appreciate that. And actually what I do, and I get I get about 15,000 steps in per day now. What I do is, and I bought these for my employees as well. It's a Fully Desk, FULLY.com. And down below here, I've got an elliptical trainer and a monitor up high there so it doesn't hurt my neck when I look up at it. But I believe that, I think that when you exercise and you work at the same time, you can retain a lot more information. It feels like I just woke up whenever I exercise and I work. And I do a lot of work actually, and some of my more productive hours now are in the late afternoons, early evenings, because I'm exercising while I'm working. Yeah. Okay, and then Ray's question is, if the financialtimes.com is for economic news, which is the media for technology news? Yeah. So my favorite technology website is engadget.com. And it's a lot of fun because they cover a lot of cool new gadgets as well. It's fun for me to read it. It's not work. I enjoy it. In terms of podcasts, the best technology podcast on the planet is Twit, TWIT, which is founded by Leo Laporte. And Twit stands for This Week in Tech. Yeah, This Week in Tech. And Leo Laporte records it from Petaluma here, not too far away from me. He records it every Sunday. He's been doing it since 2005. Now, podcasts were founded. The first podcast came out in July of 2005. And I remember that well because I worked at Citadel in the hedge fund industry. And I used to drive to work at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And on my way to work, I would listen to the Wall Street Journal technology podcast, which was like 5 minutes long. And so that would give me all of the little snippets on technology news overnight. So that when I get to work, I'm ready for the morning call and for when the market's open. All right, next question is, what's the best talk show in your opinion? Yeah, I don't watch too much talk shows, but I do watch the John Oliver show. And one of my goals is I'm an army of one here when I do this and by myself here. But my goal is to try to give a similar customer experience that you get from these talk shows by doing it myself. And you'll see here my feet. I actually have pedals down here on the ground. And they're basic, pedals are just like keyboards. You just map keys. And I can turn on certain camera angles as well. And I've got this one, which is an arm. It just stopped working, but it's supposed to go up and down as well because I want to give the same customer experience as what you see on these talk shows where there's 100 people working on it from a technology perspective behind the scenes. And I pride myself on being an army of one and teaching my students, based on my many failures, how you too can be an army of one and deliver a great webcast, just like anybody can on television. Yeah. But I watch John Oliver sometimes. Yeah. He's funny. And as a kid, I used to watch Johnny Carson a lot. I remember he passed away in late January of 2005. Yeah, but he was funny. Yeah. Next question is from Manas, who's saying, I had accounts as my main subject when I was in my high school. That was 8 months before this pandemic broke out. So is there any other method of calculating depreciation? I'm only aware of 2 of them. Yeah. So depreciation, for those who are not familiar with it, is the process of deducting the value of something you've used. And the best way for me to explain it is to actually get a car. All right. This, by the way, is a Tucker. It's one of the props I used for my MBA degree students. And Tucker, it's a great movie. You guys should check it out. It's with Jeff Bridges. It's his best movie, I think. It's called Tucker, A Man and His Dreams. And it's a real story. And so what happened was, right before World War II, this guy named Tucker, this brilliant American businessman, he had a contract that he was about to sign with the Dutch government for selling tanks. And then World War II broke out, and for some reason the Dutch couldn't pay for it, so they had to cancel that contract. So rather than declaring Chapter 11 bankruptcy and giving up, Tucker, who's got a great attitude, said, screw it, man, I'm just going to make a car. And he made this unbelievable car. It's just, I mean, people were a lot smaller back then, but sorry, no more dad humor, but he made this unbelievable car. And the big 3 automakers in Detroit they shut him down illegally and unethically. And they got government officials as well because he was such a threat to them. But here's his car. But let me talk about depreciation now, using a Tucker as an example. So when you buy a product for your company, a machine, let's just say a car, okay, what you can do is you can depreciate it over time. And I'll give you a simplistic example. Let's say this car that I'm using for work, it costs $100. So what I can do is every year, and let's say it'll last for 10 years. Every year I can depreciate it by $10, okay? So that's $100 for the car, but over 10 years I depreciate it for $10 per year. And so what that does is it makes the amount of tax I pay lower every single year. Depreciation is a beautiful thing. I'll explain why it exists in a second. But the way it works from a mathematics perspective is, let's say I make $1,000 a year. I'm a company. I make $1,000 a year, and the tax rate is 50%. So I have to pay taxes of $500 a year. What depreciation does is it reduces the amount of tax you pay as follows. So if this costs $100 and I can depreciate it by $10 every year, then instead of me paying 50% tax on $1,000, what I can do is I pay 50% tax on $1,000 minus 10, so $990. So 50% tax on $990 is less than 50% tax on $1,000. So I pay a little bit less in tax. And so that's what depreciation does. Now, the reason why depreciation is awesome, not just from a tax perspective, is also because governments are kind of incentivizing you as a company to always buy the best new stuff within reason, right? And so that's why a lot of people that are self-employed have great computers, because they can depreciate computers usually over 2 years, and software is usually over 1 year. So it's a wonderful incentive that governments give you globally. Now, every government and every tax code is different. So please make sure to talk to your accountant and or tax lawyer before depreciating anything. And so this example here, what I gave was straight line depreciation, which means this thing costs $100 and I can depreciate it over 10 years. 100 divided by 10 is $10 per year. That's straight line depreciation. It's an equal amount every year, straight line. There's also another form of depreciation, which is accelerated, okay, which means you can deduct less in the beginning and more later, or vice versa. And every tax code in every country and every type of product is different when it comes to depreciation. But it's a beautiful thing because it makes us pay less in taxes. Now, you can't just look at an income statement to understand how much money you're making. I mean, you'd think intuitively the income statement would tell you how much cash you're getting in your pocket each quarter, each year, because an income statement is revenue minus expenses equals net income. But the income statement is a lie, because that net income you get in your pocket, you're supposed to get in your pocket, is not really the cash you're getting. Why? Because people use depreciation on their income statement. And that's why the cash flow statement exists. The income statement's a lie. It doesn't tell you how much cash you're getting in your pocket each period. The cash flow statement does. And so the cash flow statement is one of the 3 financial statements. The other one I haven't talked about is the balance sheet, which tells you what you own and what you owe. But the cash flow statement starts with net income, and then you add back non-cash stuff like depreciation. All right, let me go put this back. I hope you guys like my new poster over there. It's from one of my favorite actors, a guy named Kyle Chandler, who was the coach in Friday Night Lights. Great show. If you have to binge something on Netflix, watch Friday Night Lights, which is about Texas and football. And football is a big deal there. But Kyle Chandler was the coach in that show. And he said, opportunity does not knock. It presents itself when you beat down the door. I love it. You got to be aggressive. Be aggressive when networking. Okay, next up, we've got, what is the benefit of including individual stocks in your portfolio instead of only ETFs? Isn't the risk of losing higher? Isn't it better to just buy the S&P? Yeah, that's a great question. So let me first of all explain ETFs really, really quickly. So ETF stands for Exchange Traded Funds. And basically what it is you enter in a text about. And so if you buy this stock, the ticker is SPY, it actually represents all 500 companies that make up the US economy. And what you do is you're going to pay an annual fee of only 0.09% to own this. And the amazing thing about ETFs is 90% of them beat the pants off of mutual funds. And mutual fund fees can be 5% sometimes, including hidden fees. And mutual funds trade so darn much that the short-term taxes is much, much higher than it is with ETFs. What does that mean? Well, governments globally encourage you to think long-term. And so if you own something and you sell it and you realize a profit in greater than 1 year, you pay much less taxes, much less capital gains taxes. Mutual funds buy and sell all year long, many of them. And so not only are the fees high you're paying, and not only do they underperform the indexes like the S&P, but the taxes are much higher as well. So here in the S&P, we talked about there's 500 stocks in this one. And so the question is, why should I buy an ETF? Or why should I buy individual stocks when I can buy an ETF, which is 500 stocks in a portfolio and it's diversified? The reason to buy stocks is if you have time and if you understand finance and accounting and you do a lot of research on individual companies, you can outperform the ETFs if you have time to roll up your sleeves. And I teach my students in my MBA degree program how to create incredible financial models to value companies based on their earnings expectations. Even if you have no finance experience, I teach you from scratch. And I also teach you how to analyze the qualitative and quantitative aspects of a company, looking at fundamentals, valuation, and then technicals, a distant third. And so if you're interested in learning more, you can sign up for my MBA degree program, or you can take a very short version of it, which is called the Complete Financial Analyst course. Which is, I think it's just over 20 hours. Whereas my MBA degree program, if you're in the platinum or gold version, is over 500 hours, including Q&A and one-on-one times. Yeah. And to learn more about that stuff, just go to my website, harouneducation.com. Thanks. Great question. All right. Next question is Manas is saying about depreciation, straight line method, and diminishing balance. Your opinion is too essential on this. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And so I answered that a second ago. The only follow-up I would say also is you have to analyze LIFO and FIFO. And so when you're depreciating an asset, you have to understand if or inventory in general, you're using LIFO, last in, first out, and FIFO, which is first in, first out. Yeah. And when you start a new career, unfortunately, given FaceTime, you got to be FILO, which is first in, last out. I hated FaceTime. Okay. Ray is saying, what if, although I'm using your method for searching my passion, and I can't find out neither I like my business idea for business, how can I get good ideas? Yeah. So the question is, how do I get good ideas for a business model? Yeah. So I have a course called the Complete Business Plan course. And as with all of my courses, there's a 30-day 100% money back guarantee. And I go into a lot of detail over 9 hours to tell you how to write an amazing business plan. And I teach this in my MBA degree program in much, much more detail as well. And failing to plan is planning to fail. And most people don't write business plans. And that's why a lot of people, their companies go belly up. Even if you have a company, you can still write a business plan now. Kind of like if you own a stock, you can do research on it, which I call buy-in homework. But I really do think that you have to write a thorough business plan in order to increase the chances of success, because more than half of the companies that get founded go belly up within a couple of years. And so the business plan course that I have, called the Complete Business Plan course, will teach you everything you need to know about analyzing your business model from a qualitative and quantitative perspective. Even if you have no experience in finance and accounting, I teach everything from scratch. And the end result is that after taking my course, you'll better understand if you should launch that company or not. And if I convince you not to start your company, then I've done my job. But if I convince you to start your company, I've also done my job. Now, if you take my course and you convince yourself by writing your business plan not to start your company, then I've saved you a lot of money, a lot of heartache, and maybe years in your life. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Don't ever start a company without writing a business model first. And you only have to be right in business one time. So what might happen is you might have to write 5 or 10 or 15 business plans before you write one that is going to be an incredible success. You only have to be right in business one time. That's a quote from Mark Cuban. And so if you work for somebody else and you're not happy at work and you're frustrated, then good. And I say that with love in my heart. I say it with love in my heart because frustration leads to reinvention. Frustration forces you to try new things, like writing a business plan on the side if you work for somebody that's not treating you well. And keep writing those business plans. Rinse, lather, repeat over and over and over again until one works out exceptionally well. And the rule of thumb I use in terms of you quitting your company that you work for and starting your own company is this. If you make more money from your side hustle in 6 months than you do your entire salary for a year, then it's a no-brainer to quit. Yeah. Okay. Next question is, when should a company sell its accounts receivable? Why? Any other alternative option? Yeah, great question. So for those of you not familiar with accounts receivable, it basically means if you're a company and you sell something, and instead of your customer giving you cash, they say, hey, I'll pay you later. I'll pay you later. Or you give them 30 days to pay it, whatever it is. So that's an account. My customer's an account. And I need to receive that. And this account's receivable. And so what happens is a lot of times companies can't collect money from certain people that they sell to or certain companies. So what they do is they package up that accounts receivable and they sell it, or they partner with a claims collection company that's going to collect that money. And what happens is, and it's happened to me before too, I've been on the other side of that phone. When I was a kid in Canada, and I went to McGill University, you were able to get credit cards without having a credit rating. And so I had a couple credit cards and I used the proceeds to invest in a company that did well, whatever. One of them was American Express. And I remember I went to a store, it was called Moto Photo in Canada, to get pictures developed. And they cut my credit card in front of me because it was past due. It was terrible. But I remember there was somebody from a claims department that called me on the phone who was really, really rude, rightly so, I guess, a little bit. But it was a claims department that Amex had outsourced that to. And he was mean on the phone. He said, you have to pay now. I was like, oh my God, is this the mafia? No, he wasn't like that. He was a bit rude, though, a bit firm. And eventually I paid. But you don't have to pay the full amount sometimes. Sometimes you can negotiate to pay a bit less. And so what I would say is if you have your own company and it's taking you way too long to try to collect money from customers and you're not focusing on your core competency, meaning the reason why you're in business, then I would consider outsourcing that to a collections agency. And Manas is saying, your feedback on my new channel, Malik's Edutainment. Did you see the video? I didn't. I'm so sorry. I didn't see it. Did you? When you paste a link here in YouTube, YouTube doesn't allow it to go through. They for some reason strip it out. And Ray is saying, why are you saying you're never selling your 4 cryptocurrencies? Okay, cool. And this is probably from a couple weeks back. I talked about the 4 cryptos I own. Yeah. Just because I did a ton of research on them, and I'm a stockholder. I'm staying forever on it. I believe in the long-term fundamentals of those 4 cryptocurrencies that I mentioned before. Yeah. Plus, I don't want to pay taxes on them. Yeah. And Kim is asking, hi, Chris. I'm curious to know if you've ever done a Myers-Briggs test before. If so, can you share what your profile is? Now, thanks for asking. I've not done it. But what a Myers-Briggs test is it tells you the type of person you are. maybe you're a type A personality, meaning aggressive. Maybe not. Maybe a type B. I've never taken it. Next question is from Ray. Ray is asking, isn't it time now to sell gold in my portfolio? Is there such a time at all? Yeah. So thank you for the question. I pride myself in teaching people how to fish and not providing a fish. And so I'll never tell you what to buy or sell, ever. Yeah. But gold usually goes up when things are bad. It usually historically has an inverse relationship to other commodities. So when the global economy is doing well, companies are making more stuff, and companies are building more stuff. And the biggest input into machines is oil, and you have other natural resources that go into components of making stuff, like copper, etc. So when the economy is doing well globally, those aforementioned commodities go up in price. But gold usually has an inverse relationship. Conversely, when things are just terrible, sometimes, and in many economic cycles, gold is seen as a flight to quality, which is certainly what we saw in the second half of 2008, when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working. In the second half of 2008, all commodities got crushed except for gold. Gold is a fear index, or a fear metal people like to hold. And when I buy gold, I usually buy the ticker GLD. I'll show you. Don't buy physical gold from stores because you don't know if it's real. And it's a pain in the neck to try to sell it as well. Instead, what I recommend, and do your research first, obviously, if you want to buy gold, is you buy this, the GLD. It's like a ticker. And what this is just 100% of it is the precious metal, gold. That's it. Like if you look at holdings, there's nothing in there. And if we go here to profile, we could see here that the expense ratio is not listed here right now, but I know it's around 0.5% or less per year. Yeah. So if you're going to buy gold, I recommend buying the GLD instead of actually buying physical gold. All right. Yeah. Manas is saying, God bless you and your family, and keep, God bless you more. Thank you, buddy. And keep the webcasts, even if you've been in 10,000 webcasts. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. This is week 98. Crazy, huh? You wrote, have a great weekend. Thanks again, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. Likewise, and I like your icons. High five back to you as well, buddy. Thanks. All right, next question is from Pradap, who's asking, hi, sir, hope all is well. Call me Chris, please. Please guide me books related to taking action towards achieving the goals. I've set my goals, but I feel like I'm procrastinating the action toward achieving my goal. Yeah. So I have a book actually and a course. And the course is called 30-Day Challenge to a More Productive and Much Happier You. And so let me see if I can show it to you. And maybe I'll show you the trailer as well. I don't usually do this. But you can actually take that course on Udemy. Go to my website and you'll find it there. And so let me actually go there with you. I'm going to take myself out of the picture for a second here. All right. Hold on one second. I'll go here to Haroun, Education Ventures, and I will show you that course here. And this will help you achieve all of your goals. Where is it? It's down here somewhere. 30-day, here it is here. Okay, good. All right, let me open this up. And what I'll do is I will actually show you the trailer on this one. Give me 1 second. And let me make sure that the quality is half decent. And I'll go on mute and I'll show you this quickly.
Activity is what. Do you want to start?
So sorry. I think I screwed something up there. I gotta. Hold on. One of those days, guys. One of those days. All right. So if I mute myself. I got it. Okay, here we go. I'll do it again. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. One more time. Do you want to start living life on your own terms? Do you want to learn how to increase your productivity, your ability to focus, and your overall happiness? Perfect. This course is a 30-day challenge with 30 short daily exercises to increase your productivity as well as your happiness. The goal is to change and improve your life. And these aren't just any life improvement lessons. The 30 lessons are based on my meetings with many incredibly successful business people. I asked them, what makes their approach so successful? And this is what I learned. Time management skills. How to create unstoppable confidence. How to find your professional passion. How to eliminate distractions. Understanding the importance of giving, which always leads to receiving. How to deal with difficult people. How to stop procrastinating, and many more priceless life lessons. I conducted my research over many years while working at Goldman Sachs, at hedge funds, in the technology industry, in the consulting industry, in venture capital, and at the companies I've started. I've had the pleasure of meeting with, investing in, and working for some of the most successful people in business. And now it's time for me to share my results with you. In this course, I will also include a free copy of my book called 30-Day Challenge to a More Successful and Much Happier You, because I want to humbly inspire you to achieve all of your goals. Thank you for your commitment to this journey that we'll take together. Let's begin the 30-Day Challenge so you can live your life on your terms. All right. Sorry about that little mess up there. It's tough to be an army of one. No excuse, though. Introduction and purpose of this course. Hold on a second. This course will be... All right. Let's do a little sound check. I think we're good here. Cool. So that course, I humbly believe, will help you achieve your goals. Yeah. And there's many goal-setting workshops in that course as well. I had a lot of fun putting it together. All right, next question is, hey, Chris, I'm working as a private placement agent for a startup. A current client of mine runs a content-based business model. Thus, venture capitalists are skeptical to invest with him. How do I change this? Yeah. So I think the most important thing about raising money or running a successful company as a startup is to sell yourself first. As Mark Cuban said, ideas are commodities, but execution is not. And the jockey's always more important than the horse. So you have to start out by selling yourself and your experiences and your management team. And once you get the early investors comfortable with your background, they're going to be much more willing to bet on you and your business model, because sophisticated early stage investors, they've learned over time that they would rather invest in an A management team with a B business model than invest in a B management team with an A business model. The jockey's always more important than the horse. So I would always start off with that. And if you want, what you can do is you can go to my YouTube channel and search for a speech I gave to the HEC Paris MBA students on how to raise money. It's a 45-minute speech that I put online, and I think it will help you a lot when you think about what to put in your slide deck. Okay. Next question is, hey, Chris, Pratik here. First question, how can augmented reality and virtual reality make a change in the education industry? Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of work on that right now. I've been playing around a lot with augmented reality and a little bit less so with VR. And so for those of you not familiar with the difference between them, augmented reality is kind of like when you want to buy a piece of furniture and you want to see what it looks like in your house. So you use an app to see it. Virtual reality is when you put on goggles, and it's like Oculus, which I have, which Facebook makes. And you're in a virtual world and you play games that way. So I think that augmented reality is going to have a bigger impact on business in the near term because it's more simplistic and because you don't get as dizzy. And I'll talk about dizziness in VR in a second. Now, when it comes to augmented reality, what I've taught my MBA degree students is how to create an MVP version of their product, which stands for a minimum viable product. And I taught them how to create a virtual version of it as well, using a free product from Adobe that you can download on your mobile phone called Aero, A-E-R-O. And what you can do is you can create your product or a mock-up of what it might look like. And you bring your cell phone to meetings with potential investors. And you can move your cell phone around or have them do it as well and see your product on the table. Again, I use a product called Aero, A-E-R-O. And virtual reality is a little bit different because you have to actually develop the whole world as well. And I don't think the technology is there yet because you do get very dizzy. A lot of people do, and you can't play for more than half an hour. And it can have an impact on your site as well. It's a little bit dangerous, actually, if you overdo it. But virtual reality and augmented reality they are platforms that are going to be relevant in the future, which is why Facebook bought Oculus. Microsoft has HoloLens. And then Google also has their own product. I think they bought a company called Magic Leap. Yeah. But let me show you how to create, from a very, very high level perspective, how to create an augmented reality version of your product so you can show customers. And so let me see if I can even do this. So what I'll do is there's a product you can download from Adobe, and it's called Adobe Dimension. And what you can do is you can create a 3D item here, and it's really, really easy to do, and anybody can do it. And I'm using this to teach my MBA degree students. So let's say that you've got this hoodie here, okay? So we're going to create a hoodie, and then we're going to sell it. Or not sell it. I want to show you actually how to visualize it using augmented reality. All right. So what we do, and you're going to see there's no coding involved in this at all. So let's color it. So what I'll do is I will color it with my starter assets here. Again, this is using Adobe Dimension, okay? And whenever you pick colors for 3D modeling, you don't just pick colors in a palette. They show it to you in a ball here because there's different lighting at different angles. So let's say for fun, we want to make part of this brass down here. This is going to be a ridiculous hoodie we're going to make together. Okay. And let's go down here to the outer shell and let's just make this. Let me see if I can get some. It's cardboard here, but it looks like a clothing piece. And then this part here, let's paint it. No. I don't want to do that. Let's go here and let's paint the rest of it here. Okay. So what I'll do is, hold on a second. Let's do one more, the label. We'll make the label that color, whatever it is. And let me just do one more color before we export this and show this to our potential customers. Okay. And you can get rid of certain parts as well, like I'm doing here. Okay. Let's make the top part here that color. Okay. And I think we're ready. One more thing, what I want to do is I want to do the body part as well. Hold on. Yeah, that part. Okay, yeah. And then what we'll do is we'll export this. And by the way, companies like Benetton, they make all of their clothes beige. And then the last second before they ship them to market, they watch fashion shows to see what colors are going to be in vogue that year. Sorry for the pun. Then what they do is they actually go ahead and dye it. Okay, so let's take a look now at this model we just created. Looks kind of cool, eh? And one of my MBA degree program students named Julian, his son Martin is making a hoodie, and he inspires me. This is it. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to export this, okay? Now, what you can do is you can export these so you can look at them with your iPhone or Android handset using Aero. Before I do that, though, what I want to do is I want to export this and show you how you can use a product like this in PowerPoint. So let's go here to GLB. And I will export this here, and I'll just call this hoodie yo. I don't know why I added the yo there. Now, let's go into PowerPoint, and I'll show you how to use this as a 3D object in your presentation. So let's go here to New. And there's a great feature in PowerPoint called the Morph Feature. And it works out exceptionally well when you use 3D objects. So what I'll do now is I will go and grab this bad boy here and drag it in here. Here it is, hoodie, yo. Drag it here. Okay, it's gonna put this here in the presentation, and I will grant access. Okay, so here's what it looks like, and you might have seen 3D objects before in PowerPoint. It's really easy to do. There's no coding. Okay, so let me just go here and show you how this is going to work. So let's say that you want to show this, and you want to show this in a presentation as well. So I'll go here. We got the Morph feature here, and now let me go here and play the presentation. Okay, so this here's the first slide. Now the second slide will look like this. I'll hit next now. Isn't that cool? So you can see all aspects of it that way. Next, what I want to do is I want to actually go and put this on my iPhone so I can show this to potential customers as part of an MVP or minimum viable product. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll go to File, Export, and this time we'll export it to Arrow. We want to export it to to PowerPoint. So I'll go select Arrow. And what's going to happen is it's going to process it, and then it's going to actually export it so that I can look right here and show my customers what it will look like using augmented reality, which is the crux of your question. So let me go here, and I'll call this Chris, all in caps, just to keep it quick. So now that's been exported. And it's actually exporting right now as we speak directly to Arrow. And so the next step is you download an application called Aero, A-E-R-O. And let me show you how this is going to work. So what I'll do is, let me do that, and let me actually add my face as well in the corner. This one here. That's good enough, yeah. I'll add myself over here. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this works. So let me just first of all zoom in. I'll go slow. There we go. Hopefully we can get this to work. Okay, great. And let me get rid of the backing on this too so I can show you what this looks like flat. All right, so let's go here. And we'll go here to Arrow. So you go to A-E-R-O, right here, see? Okay, great. Then what you do is you have to add that object. So let me make this a little bit less bright. Much better. Good. Okay. Now what it's asking you to do, kind of like when you use remember the Wii U or the Wii, you actually had to go like this to teach it what your desktop is. And so what I'll do is, while I'm doing that, I'm going to zoom out slightly. There we go. Good. Okay. So let's do it again. So finding the surface. Okay. Takes a second. Okay, good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add that object. So I click here on Add, okay? And then we have to go and add it here. So what I'll do is I will go here to my assets. Let's go here to Files. Whoops. Creative Cloud. It's coming. And then I will get, it's called Chris, right? Hold on a second. Chris. Yeah, it's trying to pull it up. Sometimes it takes a minute or so. So what I'll do in the meantime is I will just show you this product here for fun. Okay, let's go to Open, and then you add it here. Okay. Okay. You click Add, and then you should be able to see it. So clearly I'm screwing this up, but you guys get the idea, right? So, and let me grab another one then. Let's go to Creative Cloud. And we'll add something else, I guess. A bag. Okay. Open. And you tap to place asset. Okay, this will work. It won't be perfect. But it kind of looks like that. You see the bag there, right? So you can go like this as well and see it from different angles. So not the best demo, but you guys get the idea, right? So what happens is when you synchronize this, you can then add that that device or product, whatever it is you made. And the reason why I showing this to you, and I'm certainly not doing a great job at it, is because what you can do is you can actually show your minimum viable product to potential investors using augmented reality. Yeah. All right. Okay, next question is from Danios. Hey, Danios. Danios is saying, good morning, Chris. Long time no talk. I hope you're doing well. You're from Alberta, right? I think. Canada, yeah. It's been like 7 or 8 months, but I remember your name. I hope you're doing well. You wrote, I've been missing your webinars for the last 3 months, but I'm back and excited to learn what's new. I hope you're doing well during this COVID outbreak and your family's healthy. Thank you. Everyone is good. Everyone is good. Thanks. We're trying to figure out what's going to happen with the kids, though, with school. So it looks like they might just be going part-time. The school is mandating that here in California. And then it'll be staggered. So sometimes they'll be at home learning online, and then sometimes they'll be at school, but not many students will be at school. So they'll go each other day. There's a complex schedule that they're setting up as well. Yeah. I hope you're doing well. It's great to have you back. Next question is, as I'm a high school student and never worked in a company, what can I do to improve my LinkedIn profile? Yeah. So what I recommend when it comes to resumes in general is you always lead with your strength. So if you have a lot of great work experience, you put that before education. But if you have a lot of educational experience and less work experience, you lead with education. And so what I would do is on your LinkedIn profile, if you want to set one up, and you can take my complete job course on Udemy as well. But what I would recommend doing is, of course, leading with education. And then maybe you can have some of your friends or teachers or whatever write you recommendations as well over LinkedIn. What you can do, though, also is you can write a summary profile. And I would leverage your strengths or your passions, at least, in your profile. And I'll show you what that looks like. So if we go here to LinkedIn, and let me actually get out of private mode so I can show you. LinkedIn, I'll show you mine. And if anybody sends me messages and I don't respond, please don't take it personally. I get a lot of messages. Okay, I checked them this morning too. All right, so what you do is you go to your profile and focus a lot of time here on the summary section, right? You talk about what you're passionate about, etc. And if you write articles online, and it's never too early to start, you can start now, or you make videos, you can include them here as well on your LinkedIn page as well. So that's what I recommend. Yeah. And if you have additional questions, as always, please let me know, and thank you. Okay. And then the question is, for your 100th webcast coming in 2 weeks, will you take it on Zoom? Sure, I can always do Zoom, yeah. So what I do with my MBA degree students in my Platinum and Gold programs is we have office hours today, actually, after this call is done. And we do calls using FaceTime. Sometimes we'll have 9 or 12 or 15 people on at once. It's a lot of fun. And I also have, you might have seen this in the back here. See it in this angle. Yeah. So here's a timer as well. And what I do with my students is I give them 20-minute one-on-ones. And then I have this in the background. And I do the one-on-ones online, and my students can meet in person if they want to as well. But anyway, it's been fun. So my students all get couple hours each of one-on-one time with me. And this is how we do it with a timer here. Yeah. Ronan Donovan, how are you? You're from Ireland, if I don't remember, and you graduated 2012, right? Yeah. Great to have you. So Ronan is writing, hi, Chris. Good to see you again. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and advice. How would you advise me as a young accountant who has an interest also in the investment industry? Yeah. So the most important thing I can tell you is just network a lot. And accounting is the language of business. It's one of the few things in business that's not common sense. And so, kudos to you for understanding and focusing on accounting at this point in your career. So what I recommend doing is networking, and networking aggressively. We know that relationships are more important than product knowledge. So what I would do is I would go to LinkedIn, read my book first of all. You can get it from my website. It's a free download. Go to harouneducation.com. Then what you'll do is you can go to LinkedIn and find people that are also from Ireland and also went to the same school you did when you graduated in 2012. And do a search and find people that work in investments. You can do an advanced search in LinkedIn. And then find people that work in investments at companies that also went to the same schools you went to. And send them an informational message, which is what I teach in this book. Something along the lines of, I'll make this up. John, hope all is well. I also went to XYZ school. And I live in Belfast or Dublin or wherever it is. Please let me know if you have time for a coffee, or please let me know if you have time for a Zoom meeting. Thanks a lot, Ray. Keep it short. Never say why you want to meet. Otherwise, if you do say why you want to meet, a lot of times they won't answer. Not because they don't want to help you, just because they feel bad that they might not be able to help you. And so I would just keep it very generic, keep it short. Use please, thank you, and what you have in common. That's key. That's key. And if you don't believe me whether or not this will work, I want you to focus on and think about and meditate on this. Okay? Ray, let's pretend that it's 20 years in the future now, and you're way more successful than you already are. And somebody reaches out to you and sends you a message over LinkedIn. And they went to the same school as you, and they have the same life experiences as you. And it reminds you a lot of yourself. Would you take that meeting? Of course you would. Ask and you will receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. And if you ask and you don't get a response, then keep asking. I want you to be a pit bull on a pork chop and be relentless. And then just keep at it until eventually you do get a response. You'll never be successful in business or any aspect in life unless you ask over and over and over and over again, right? And as Michael Jordan said, he said, per my poster there, I failed over and over and over again, and that's why I succeed. Okay, and Hans is saying, hi. Dude, your icon there is Adam Hart Mother. That's one of my favorite Pink Floyd albums. And my favorite song on that one is If. I love that. I love that. Yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool. I love it. Welcome, Hans. So Hans is writing, hi, Chris. Which course would you recommend for an engineer looking to learn how to invest his money in the best stocks? I'm not afraid of diving into the math, but also I'm not looking for a new career. Yeah, I would recommend a course of mine called the Complete Financial Analyst Training Course. And what I do in this course is you rotate through the different divisions of my firm. It's a pretend firm, obviously. Let me show you what that means. Yeah, I had a lot of fun putting it together. The name of the company is Morgan Haroun Sachs. Please don't sue me, Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley. Although MHS is way better than your firms. And to learn more about this, what you can do is just do a search on me, Chris Haroun, Complete Finance Course. And you'll take it. Udemy will probably come up second. Yeah, that's my website. Go to Udemy, though. And then I'll show you a quick little promotional trailer of this. And I won't mess this one up like I did last one. I promise you. Give me 1 second to show you here, though. All right, hold on a second. Yeah. Okay, let's go here. Whoops. All right. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. Welcome to MHS. Congratulations! MHS stands for Morgan Haroun Sachs, which is the world's #1 pretend finance company. Come with me. You will go through our Financial Analyst Training Program Bootcamp. Here you will learn a lot about finance and investing with no theory. You will rotate through the many divisions of our firm, and we will discuss how to excel in 14 different financial analyst roles. I will also help you understand which finance role you're most passionate about and how to get hired and promoted in the industry. you will deal with the employees and clients of our firm in edutaining, meaning entertaining and educational interactive case studies, including how an IPO works, how to manage risk, and how to manage a portfolio. You will create incredible investment research reports that will impress the heck out of anyone in the finance industry. This course is for anyone who wants to be a financial analyst or a better investor, stock picker, portfolio manager, and more. No prior experience is necessary. It includes a comprehensive Excel template to help guide you through our training program. In addition, I will teach you Excel skills so you can model financial statements and value companies from scratch. This course is based on my many years of experience. I'm an MBA graduate from Columbia University. I've gone through the Global New Hire Financial Analyst Training Program at Goldman Sachs in New York, London, and Tokyo. I've worked for top hedge funds, and I even started my own hedge fund and venture capital firms. This course is more than 22 hours long. This is the most thorough financial analyst and investing course available on the market. The student reviews have been amazing. Welcome to the Morgan Haroun Sachs training program. This will be a lot of fun. I'll see you in the morning. All right. Bear with me 1 second here. Okay. Next up, we've got Melody. Hey, Melody. Melody's a teacher from Atlanta, and she's writing a book, and she's got a couple courses she's about to put up on Udemy, and she's awesome. Melody is writing, "Hi, good morning, Chris. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Likewise, always great to have you. It's always a good day when you can be healthy and be with family. Amen." And then you wrote, "I'm still waiting for my course to be reviewed." Okay, on Udemy. Yeah. Cool. And they're really good at it. Like what they do. And by the way, I don't get brownie points for ever mentioning Udemy stuff. It's an algorithm. If my course suck, which a lot of them do, they just won't sell. Yeah. But you wrote, my course is still waiting to be reviewed. Yeah. So Udemy does a good job actually of ensuring that the quality is great of your video and your audio before they publish it. And this is to help you as well, to make sure that your course has a much better chance of selling well. Yeah. And Melly's saying, "I'm about 40% done with another course I'm putting out. Remember, I promised I wanted to put out 10 courses by the end of the year. It is going to happen." Excellent. I love it. It's the problem with a lot of people that set New Year's resolutions is they give up by the third week of January. And the reason is because they didn't set a deadline date. And I believe that whenever you come up with a goal, a BAG goal, I call it BAG, B-H-A-G, big hairy audacious goal, which is what they say in VC. Whenever you come up with a goal, you've got to set a deadline date and you have to vocalize it as well. And so we're on week 98 now. But in the first couple of weeks of doing these webcasts, I mentioned that in 10 years, I want to get an Oscar. This is a fake, I'm a fraud. I want to get an Oscar for best business documentary that makes the world a better place. And now I've got, I think 8.5 years left or something, because we've been doing this webcast for a while. But let me show you this actually. This is interesting. Let me go here and show you what this looks like top down. So right here, and this is a replica, of course. There are 5 circle canisters, and these represent the 5 original branches of the academy: filming, editing, acting, directing, etc. And when you make your own course on Udemy or online, a lot of work goes into it. And if you ever feel frustrated, after you release it, when you watch a movie, at the end of the movie, I want you to watch the credits and count the number of people that go into making a movie. Because being an army of one making a course on Udemy is simple. Anyone can do it. But it feels a lot better once you kind of understand how many people go into making a major motion picture. Yeah. All right. And then Melody wrote, "I'm still including quality over quantity as well." Good. Always keep in mind what you taught me. Excellent. Yeah. And for those of you interested in making a Udemy course, take my free courses on how to make a Udemy course based on mistakes I've made so that you can work smarter, not harder, and learn from my many failures. And then Melody is saying, question, when does school begin for you out in California? Are you sending your kids to school or homeschooling? Yeah. So school starts up, I think in late August, and yeah, we're gonna send them. Yeah, we're gonna send them to school, because I had enough of them at home. I'm just kidding, sort of. No, I'm totally kidding. It's great having them home. But what's happening out here where I live is you're not going to go to school every day. They stagger it. So some students will go Monday, Wednesday, some will go Tuesday, Thursday, etc. And so fewer people will be at school just in case, and they'll see how it goes. Yeah. And I just read that Harvard canceled all classes this year and next year. Ridiculous. They're still charging $100,000 for 4-year under it. It's crazy. I mean, traditional universities are certainly in secular decline, and they're a ripoff. Yeah. Okay. And then Melody said, what are your thoughts about GNC going bankrupt? Yeah, it's sad, man. I mean, there's like Brooks Brothers has been around for 200 years, and it just filed for Chapter 11. So let me explain Chapter 11 to those of you that might not be familiar with it. And you probably heard the term on television. So in 1979, the United States government set up 300 bankruptcy courts across the country. And there's many different chapters in the bankruptcy code. Chapter 11 is for a company filing bankruptcy. And over 70% of all companies that file for bankruptcy in the United States come out of it on top and better off than ever, as long as there's no fraud. And the reason why is because what Chapter 11 is basically when you owe a lot of money, obviously, and you can't pay it back, you can, and America is very business friendly. What you can do is you owe a lot of money, you can't pay it back. You can file Chapter 11, which basically puts a big force field around you, so to speak, for 4 months. Nobody can touch you. And during those 4 months, you work with the bankruptcy courts to try to renegotiate your debt. Okay, so say you owe somebody $100. Maybe you can agree with them and negotiate to only pay them $80. They'll get 80 cents on the dollar, which is better than nothing. So anyway, it is sad to hear about Brooks Brothers. They've been around 200 years, and GNC, but it doesn't mean that they're going bankrupt, right? When you declare Chapter 11, it means that there's a chance you might come out of it, a good chance actually. Again, over 70% of companies that file for Chapter 11, as long as there's nothing corrupt or unethical going on or fraudulent, over 70% of these companies come out of it on top. Yeah. And actually Marvel, which Disney owns now, Marvel filed for bankruptcy many, many years ago. And then Carl Icahn, a brilliant private equity investor, he bought the heck out of that company. And then eventually they emerged and were standing on their own 2 feet. And then Carl Icahn sold Marvel to Disney, and he personally made over $1 billion in that transaction. Yeah. Okay, next question is, have you ever used the Adobe product InDesign? I started making my series of books by using your handy schedule. That schedule is amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. I can't remember ever being this productive. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. And yeah, I've used most Adobe products. And the thing about Adobe products is they're really complicated until you understand one thing. Layers. Everything is a layer. If you want to change this white converter layer, you have to select that white converter layer, and you can even hide the other layers so you can just work on this one layer. Right? Once you understand layers, it actually gets a lot easier, and a lot of Adobe applications work the same too. Layers and the menus are quite similar, commensurate with when you use Microsoft Office. If you know how to use Word and Excel, PowerPoint's not that hard because the graphical user interface is not that different. Yeah, and the book that the schedule, I should say, that Melody is referring to is, I have a schedule for my students to use, and I think you could be much more successful if you schedule every weekday. And I'll show you what it looks like. You go to harouneducation.com/all lowercase schedule. Here it is here. Yeah. And you click here, and you can download a scheduler that I made for you. And I've got a higher end version I'll show you as well. Give me one sec. So let me show you the free version first, and then I'll show you the version that my MBA degree program students use. All right. So let me make sure we're still recording here. Hold on. All right, good. Okay. So this version you can go to my website and download for free. It's harouneducation.com/schedule. Schedule's all lowercase. And so what you do is, let's start down here actually. And you can customize this yourself in PowerPoint, whatever. And this will open in LibreOffice and Keynote and other applications too. So you write down your schedule here, or you print this out if you want to, and you schedule tomorrow's day today. And then what you do, and you also write in to-dos and customize this yourself, whatever. And then at the end of the day, before you write the next day's schedule, you score yourself, right? You write the day number and date, and see how many days in a row you can do this. My record is over 30 days. Don't do it on weekends, though. You'll drive yourself crazy. And so for me, I'll score myself. So for me, did I say prayers? That's the most important thing to me. Then family, diet, weights. Did I sleep 7 or 8 hours? Did I wash my face twice a day? Whatever. Did I get 20,000 steps, which means 10,000? You know what I mean? Did I put customers first? Did I not surf the internet and waste time too much? Did I not waste time on emails too much? And then I take 10% off or 5% off for each violation, whatever. And then at the very, very end, in the bottom right-hand corner here, you see I score myself out of 100. And it is very subjective, very subjective. And I schedule, time with family, 4 hours, which means 3 hours at best. But that's what I do. That's what I do. And I actually have a premium version of this for my MBA degree students, which looks like this here. And this is available in OneNote format, as well as other formats as well. 7 other formats, I think. Yeah. And so for this version, it's very similar, but you can do it online with forms and whatnot. And you just check off whether or not you did homework for my 5 courses. And the courses in my MBA degree program are Economics Management and Strategy, Finance and Accounting, Sales, Marketing and Communications, Personal Growth, and then Entrepreneurship. And so it's similar, but it goes into a lot more detail. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's what my students in my MBA degree program get as well. It's like a higher end version of that one I just showed you in PowerPoint that you can download for free from my website. Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. And I really do believe that the busier you are, the more successful you'll be in life. It's true. I mean, think about it. When you go on vacation or you have a lot of time off, and you're like, God, I have all this free time. I didn't go to the gym at all. I think if you stay busy, you can achieve all of your goals in life and really maximize your full potential. Okay. And then Symmetric is saying, question, do you think an iMBA and personalized MBA-oriented courses taken on Coursera hold value? I've completed a course of yours on Udemy and quite a lot of courses related to MBA on Coursera. I don't really know. I'm so sorry. Yeah. What I would say is whatever courses you take on Coursera or anywhere online, just make sure it's taught by somebody that's got work experience and that you're learning stuff you can apply immediately in the real world instead of theoretical stuff like supply and demand charts and stuff, which nobody uses in the real world, but they teach in business school. The only people who use in the real world are 0.0001% of people that are economists, yeah, or work for the central bank, etc. Next question is, hi, Chris, where do I find capitalists to invest in my idea? What is the procedure to meet them? Thanks in regard. Yeah. So what I would say is the best way to meet high net worth investors, to invest in your company, in your startup, is I would start out by reading this book of mine for free. You can get it from harouneducation.com. And relationships are more important than product knowledge. And your network is your net worth. Read this book. It's free, and I promise you it'll help you. All right. Next question is from Ritesh, who's saying, happy to see you again. Likewise. Hope you and your family are safe. Same with you. Thank you. Can I replan my professional and personal life at 35? Please provide me with some quick tips. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's never too late. It's never too late to start over again. And the amazing thing is that the average life expectancy has increased by 26 years since the 1950s. What does that mean? Well, it actually means that you're 26 years younger than you think you are. You said you're 36 or 35. Just take 35 minus 26. You're a lot younger than you think you are. It's never too late to start over again. And you can do it for next to nothing as well. You can retool online. If you're curious about programming and you missed the tech boat, so to speak, take courses on Udemy from Angela Yu or Rob Percival. Very affordable courses that will teach how to program, and they're a heck of a lot of fun and easy, and anybody can do it. Anybody can start over. Anybody can. And I believe that the person that's going to make it to live to 150 is alive today. That means that a lot of us in this call will probably live into our 130s, 140s, and maybe 150s even. So you mentioned you're 35. Dude, you got like more than 100 years to go. You can easily reinvent yourself anytime you want to. And I've reinvented myself over and over and over again. I've done consulting, then I went to Goldman Sachs, went to the hedge fund industry, then venture capital, now teaching. I don't know what's next. Hopefully this is my last stop because I love doing what I'm doing. The key is to find what you're incredibly passionate about and just run with it and not give a damn what people think of you. When I started doing this, in the first couple of years, people are like, are you finished teaching? Or when are you going to come back to our hedge fund or the venture capital industry? I'm like, dude, never. I want to be who I want to be. I want to do what I want to do. I love doing what I'm doing. And I humbly encourage you to also do the same. Find an occupation you love. And as Confucius said, you'll never have a job for the rest of your life. All right. Next question is from Melody, who's asking, Chris, when you do the copywriting, do you have to do each individual thing in the course, or can you cover the entire course under one patent? Yeah, so patent is different. So there's 3 different types of intellectual property. Okay, there's copyright, trademarks, and patents. Copyright is when you get the legal right so that nobody can copy your code or text in a book or stuff in a course, like a video, okay, like my online courses. That's copyright. Trademark is when you protect your brand name, like an entire MBA in one course. That's trademark. Nobody can copy it. A patent is, I don't think you need to do it for what you're doing. A patent is protecting the way you do something, like Amazon tried to patent one-click shopping. So you don't need to do the patent for what you're doing. Of course, talk to a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. So all you have to do is for your courses you're putting online and your book as well is get a copyright done for it. And you can go to LegalZoom.com. I don't get compensated by anybody ever, but you can go to LegalZoom.com and ask them to do it. They've done it for me. They've done a great job. So get them to do the copyright for you to protect the content of your book and the content of your courses. Also get them to do a trademark, which protects the brand name of your course or your company, for example. Okay. Ramon said, by the way, Chris, my scholarship application was sent to chris@harounventures.com. Thank you. I will look at it today and I will respond today with a scholarship. And that goes for anybody that wants to get a scholarship to my MBA degree program. And the last day to apply for early acceptance, by the way, for the gold and platinum version is going to be August 15th. And it is a rolling admission basis. And we're starting to accept people later this week for the program. Thank you. Speaking of students, Andrew Dupree was my very first accepted student to my MBA degree program. Andrew, great to have you. Andrew is from California, but lives in Toronto now. Great guy. And he's currently in my MBA degree program. And his family members are taking my platinum version as well for next year. Great to have you, Andrew. Andrew's saying, hey, Chris, one cannot sit the CPA exam by taking Udemy or HEV courses. Is there a solution? Yeah. So to do the CPA, it's completely different. So it's certified professional or accountant, CPA. So what I would do is I would contact that organization to see what you need to do in order to write that test. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Ashil is saying, I was having a conversation with my uncle, and I had trouble explaining to him about cryptocurrency. Can you please explain it to him from a very elementary level, how to describe this to him? Merci beaucoup. You're most welcome, Michelle. Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. And I have a course called the Complete Cryptocurrency Course, which is 24 hours long. So the best way to explain it is this. So traditional currency, which is paper-based, we don't have control over how much governments can make of that currency. And so our net worth can be materially diluted by governments, and cash is the worst investment you can ever make because, again, you can't control how much of it is going to be made. So there's a new form of currency which will have a limit on the amount that can be made. And the reason why people love this new form of currency called cryptocurrency is because there's a limit on how much can be made of that currency. So you don't get diluted. Now, that doesn't go for all cryptocurrencies. There's many different cryptocurrencies. The first notable one is Bitcoin, which was founded in early 2009, apparently by a person or a group of people or an entity called Satoshi Nakamoto, apparently. And Bitcoin is like other paper-based currencies, except there will never be more than 21 million or so Bitcoin that will ever be created. Okay, and so that means that you'll never get diluted. Like more Bitcoin cannot be invented. And the year that the maximum number of Bitcoins will be available to the public, meaning the free float, meaning in circulation, is the year 2140. And so right now there's 18 or 19 million or so Bitcoins that exist out there in the world. And there will be about 21 million by the year 2140. So the next question is this. How do they make more of these things? Well, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are digital. And the way it works is this. You know when you break your arm and you get it put into a cast, and after several months or so when the cast comes off, your arm is actually stronger than it was before you broke your arm. It heals stronger. Think about cryptocurrencies that way as well. So the way to create cryptocurrencies is to make them better. And so with Bitcoin, for example, the way that more Bitcoins are created is this. Think of Bitcoin as being a piece of code out there in the internet. Okay, it's a mathematical equation. And the first Bitcoin that was made in 2009, when there's only one Bitcoin in the world, the code to make it wasn't that strong. It was there's holes in it and whatever. And so what happened is it's ingenious the way it's made, because if you try to break that code, destroy it, then what happens is it grows back stronger. There are fewer gaps. Okay. And as a reward, you get one Bitcoin. If you break it, you get rewarded. Okay, it's ethical hacking, if there's even a term. That's such an oxymoron. So it grows back stronger. And then somebody else tries to break it later, and it grows back a bit stronger than that. And that person gets a Bitcoin as well for breaking it. So that's occurred about 18 or 19 million times so far. People have used computers to try to destroy or break Bitcoin. And that's a good thing, because the way the system is set up is it grows back stronger. Kind of like, again, when you break your arm, it actually heals stronger than it was before you even broke it. So that's how it works. And the process of trying to break the secure protocol of Bitcoin is called mining. And what people do, pardon me, is they have these computers that mine Bitcoin. And I used to do it years ago, and I was able to do it with cheap little computers. Raspberry Pis they're called. Then more people got into the industry, and it was getting harder and harder and harder to compete against other people trying to break Bitcoin. And so I used a laptop. Then it got too competitive for me using a cheap laptop. So I had to use a desktop and then a supercomputer. And then I can't compete now because people are using massive computers and building them in scale to do it. Pardon me. So if you want to mine Bitcoin, you can be part of a pool. If you can't beat them, you join them. And so many people will mine together in a mining pool. Now, eventually, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin in the world by the year 2140. More can't be made. And so you might be thinking, give me 1 second. So I'm going to put you on pause here. Hold on. This is what opera singers use when their voice goes. I'm fine, but I feel great. I just don't sound great right now, but I feel awesome. I always do. So you might be asking, well, I don't get it. Eventually, there's going to be 21 million Bitcoins. What happens after that? That's not that many. It is, because you can slice and dice each Bitcoin into 1/1000th or a millionth of a Bitcoin. Those are called Satoshis in honor of the apparent founder, Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, a great way to understand the flow of cryptocurrencies and who's buying and selling what. And by the way, Bitcoin is just one. Okay, there's thousands of cryptocurrencies that exist, or over 1,000, I should say. And the reason why so many exist, more than just one, is because there's limitations with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, it's not as easy to transact as other cryptocurrencies that are made that are better than Bitcoin for that stuff. And the best way to think about it is to think of Yahoo. So Yahoo was one of the first search engines that was popular. And then a bunch of others emerged that are a little bite better, like Alta Vista, where you can do Boolean search. It was just easier to use. And then there's Ask Jeeves. Then there was a bunch of others, Lycos, etc. And then Google came along, and Google's amazing. Yeah. And so the Google of cryptocurrencies has not been invented yet, in my humble opinion. So there's a bunch of other cryptos that address Bitcoin's limitations. There's one called Litecoin. Okay. And let me show you actually where to get tickers or quotes on these things. It's kind of like stocks. So let's go together to finance.yahoo.com. And let's type in Bitcoin, and let's look at it in US dollars. Okay. So Bitcoin is this price right now. Okay. And you could see it trades a lot here. I don't think volume is here. Yeah. So right here, the number of outstanding shares is 18.4 million right now. The maximum supply, which is not listed here, but I know the maximum supply is going to be 21 million. And so this is what Bitcoin is trading at. It's like a stock kind of. There's also other cryptocurrencies. So Litecoin, LTC, is thought of like Bitcoin's little brother, little sister. And Litecoin is made for everyday transactions. Like if you wanted to go to a department store one day and be able to pay using cryptos, a lot of people would use Litecoin. There's another one that's called Ripple, RPL. And Ripple is, or XRP is the ticker, right? Yeah, here it is here, yeah, Ripple. And this is used for financial services firms like banks. And this one here is pretty cool because it's not just a cryptocurrency, Ether. It's so much more. It's a platform for secure transactions, like legal documents or voting and whatnot, right? It's just a secure layer to do all that stuff. It's a platform, yeah. Now, let's go together to fiatleak.com. And fiat, we know, means traditional paper-based currency. All right. So right here, we can look at where people are buying and selling cryptocurrencies globally right now, or where they're mining them. Okay, and this is in real time. It's pretty cool. So right here, you can see right now, somebody on the East Coast of the United States, maybe Atlanta, maybe New York, I don't know, over here somewhere, is buying a ton of cryptocurrency. They're transacting a lot. Okay, and this is real time. And right here, somebody is also transacting, pardon me, in Germany, Japan right here, et cetera, et cetera. So this just shows you what's going on and where they're transacting and what exchanges. Pardon me. And just like we have the New York Stock Exchange, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Just like we have the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ as two exchanges where you can transact on for stocks, there's a bunch online for cryptocurrencies, and you can see them here, right? It's hard to see, but I see them. There's Binance, which is an exchange, kind of like NASDAQ, whatever. There's also one called Coinbase, which is an exchange. And you can also, the way to store your cryptocurrencies is you have wallets, just like we have real wallets, but they're digital wallets. They're like little USB tokens. And companies like Coinbase make wallets that you can store in the cloud. And there are other companies like Trezor, which make wallets that are physical, like USB wallets, where you store these tokens. So that explains cryptocurrencies from a very, very high level perspective. And the reason why cryptocurrencies exist, as I mentioned earlier, is because there's a limit usually on a lot of cryptos in terms of how many you can make. Now, whenever there's a gold rush, unfortunately, there's a lot of scammers enter a market, right? It is what it is. Kind of like Internet Bubble 1.0. When all these internet stocks are going public in the late 90s, there were a lot of scammers and a lot of crappy companies. It's getting better now for internet stocks, of course. The same thing can be said for cryptocurrencies. And so I think that most cryptocurrencies are a scam. But there's a handful, and I'll let you all do your own research, that I think are great investments. And you can take my complete cryptocurrency course if you want to learn more about how to pick great cryptocurrencies to invest in. I'll never give you a fish, but I'll humbly teach you how to fish. And usually when you buy a stock, what happens is governments make it a law that you are able to read a document that lists all the risks of that stock. And in the United States, it's called an S1, which is an IPO prospectus or a document to read. Now, I'll show you what it looks like. Give me 1 second here. All right. So in the United States, it's called an S1 document. And let me just go back here and I'll show you what this looks like. Yeah. And an S1 document basically lists all the risks in an IPO. And it looks like this. Okay, so here, this is the S1 here for Facebook. And if you look through this S1 document, you could see all the risks for investing in Facebook IPO, which is the summer 2012. Okay, all the risks, and you can learn all about it. And lawyers and investment bankers create this thing. Now, because Bitcoin is not, or cryptocurrencies are not regulated, you can't find a document like that for cryptocurrencies. So what happens is a lot of people get scammed. There's no offering memorandum. Now, in my course, the complete cryptocurrency course, and you can watch the first 6 hours for free by searching for cryptocurrency course on YouTube. But in my cryptocurrency course, the complete cryptocurrency course, what I've done is I've set it up so that I teach you how to make a version of this, but for cryptocurrencies that you're looking at investigating or potentially investing in. So I went through and I created a 49-step research process in my complete cryptocurrency course that kind of does the same sort of kind of job as this. I'm not a lawyer, but it allows you to do a lot more research based on my experiences mining cryptocurrencies, investing in cryptocurrencies, and investing in publicly traded and private companies when I used to work on Wall Street and when I used to work in the venture capital industry out here in the Bay Area. So that kind of explains it in a nutshell, what cryptocurrencies are. Again, I do believe that there's a lot of scammers out there. And let me show you one more quick little prop I've got. So the reason why the Roman Empire went belly up is because they made too many coins. They made too much currency. And the reason why a lot of countries go belly up is because they print too much cash as well. It's very problematic. And I want to show you something. Okay. So I went to Jerusalem with my family, and I bought here from Jerusalem a coin from the year 30 AD. And I'll show you. Pontius Pilate is on one side of it, okay? And here it is there. Oops. There we go. Yeah. Pontius Pilate's on one side of it. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, Chris, how the heck do you have that? And that must be worth a fortune. It's not. It's worth next to nothing. And the reason is because they made way too many of these things. History repeats itself. And they're doing lots of excavations in Israel all the time. And they keep uncovering more and more of this stuff. The problem with fiat currency or traditional paper-based currency or coin-based currency is you have no control over the supply of it. And so cryptocurrencies, the whole market was created because of that, because of the disgusting things that happened to the world in 2008 when banks were bailed out. And then 2 years later, these bankers moronically got record bonuses. It's not fair. And so that's why it's kind of like in the 1960s, there was this awesome generation called the hippies. And there's kind of like a movement like that when it comes to cryptocurrencies today. And they're my heroes. I love them. Yeah. But if you think about it, cryptocurrencies are great, at least the ones that are worth investing in, because there's a limit of supply mathematically, right? And instead of being regulated by governments, cryptocurrencies are regulated by the laws of mathematics. So why do investors like cryptocurrencies? Well, venture capital firms love looking at cryptocurrencies because cryptocurrencies will allow you to more securely transact, right? Because everything is stored digitally. Also, cryptocurrencies will allow companies to compete with Amazon. Let me explain what that means. So if you're a retailer, it's so hard competing against Amazon. It's so hard. And if you accept credit cards and you're selling stuff, then what happens is the credit card companies take usually a 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4 or 5% fee on everything you sell. And so you're losing that 5% margin on everything you sell. And it's so hard competing with Amazon. But if you sold your stuff and you took cryptocurrencies, you'd pay basically a fee of close to 0%, which will keep the lights on, especially for retail companies where the margins are razor thin. Yeah. Another reason why venture capitalists love cryptocurrencies is because there are so many people in the world that don't have access to banks, and they are called the unbanked. Now, a lot of people don't have banks in the world or access to credit, but a lot of people have these things, cell phones. There's billions of these things out there. And by the way, one cell phone today has more processing power than every computer in the world used in 1969 to put the first person on the moon. And there's billions of these things out there. So if you have this, people think of this as being your digital wallet now. And if you're unbanked or you can't get access to banks in your country, or credit-wise you can't get access to credit, you can with cryptocurrencies. And you can use cryptocurrency wallets to store this value as well. But please, the bottom line is there are so many scammers out there in cryptocurrencies, and most of them are crap. But I want you not to get scammed, and I want you to take my complete cryptocurrency course. And what you can do actually is, again, you can take the first 6 hours for free by going online to just go to YouTube. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you search for cryptocurrency course, did I spell that right? Close enough. Yeah. This comes up first, which is the first 6 hours of my course right here. So anyway, and if you have additional questions about cryptocurrencies, please let me know. And thanks as always. And please do your own research always, and never rely on anybody to tell you what stocks or what investments to make. Thank you. Okay. And then Manas is saying, what if I don't get my book copyrighted? I mean, there's a greater probability that somebody will be able to copy it, and you won't be able to legally protect your IP. Yeah, I'm not I'm not a lawyer though, so please talk to a lawyer first about that. Yeah, thanks. All right, next up, as Ernesto is saying, what is the best way to prepare for and sit for the Series 65 exam? Yeah, so give me 1 second. So there's a lot of exams that you have to take to be able to work on Wall Street that are regulated by FINRA. I took the Series 63, the Series 7, et cetera. And there's a lot of test prep agencies that will help you out with this. 65, I had to type it up because I can't remember what it is, actually. Yeah. I think I did take this one. I think I did, because when I had my hedge fund, FINRA made me take this, I think. And I think I just got a book online just to study for it, kind of like Kaplan does with test prep. I would just search YouTube to see if you can buy a used book from one of those test prep centers and study for it that way. Oh, one more thing. I can help you get a bunch of the questions right without reading the questions. How? So, and this will help anybody out there that is ever going to take a test for the rest of your life. So the way multiple choice tests work is you need to think like you're a lawyer and contest every question. And so I'll give you an example. If you hear the statement of this cup here is always black. Well, if you look really closely, maybe it's just a different shade of gray and not black. Okay. So you can't put the word always in an answer. Okay. And I'll come to the crux of what I'm talking about in a second. Okay. This converter is never white. Maybe it's beige. Well, wait a second. If you look really closely at it, maybe it is white. So whenever you're answering questions on a multiple choice test, the words always and the word never are always wrong. Think like a lawyer. Think about finding an exception. So what questions are right? Or what answers are right? Well, words that are kind of like wishy-washy. Like, this cup may appear black. You can't contest that in a court of law. This thing can look black. Or sometimes this might appear orange. You're like, well, I guess if it's an orange light that you're reflecting, okay, I guess it could be right. So think about it from that perspective. Think like a lawyer whenever you're answering multiple choice questions, and you'll do much better on the exams. Okay, next question is from Ernesto, who's saying, I'm starting an acquisition private equity fund. What is the best way to create my investment thesis? Yeah. So I would leverage your past work experience. And if you don't have one, doesn't mean you still can't do it. You can still do it. But I would talk about your strengths, because when somebody invests in a fund, they're investing in you, right? It's the jockey's more important than the horse. So I would talk about your life experiences and why your collective life experiences are enough to arm you with the ability to generate a positive return. And you have to convince investors of that. But make sure, of course, to talk to a lawyer before you start doing this or you start raising money, so you're protected, and they are too. Kind of like with an IPO, lawyers have to create an IPO prospectus along with the investment bankers. So make sure you talk to a lawyer first before you raise any money. Yeah. But I would just play to your strengths and think about how you stand out relative to the competition. Simcha is saying, how do you quit the right way? So when you leave a company, you have to be cognizant of the fact that you're probably not going to get your next job or a future job without somebody first talking to your boss at previous companies you worked at. And we're all going to work at many companies in our lives. But the one thing that will never change is your reputation. You know, and as Warren Buffett said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. So I would make sure to give your boss 2 weeks notice. And by the way, if you have another job and you're going to quit to go to that other job, before you quit, try to see if you can get a raise or get that transfer to that other department, whatever it is. You got nothing to lose, right? But if you leave, make sure that you leave on good terms. You don't leave your boss hanging. You help your boss, you help her or him be able to find a replacement to transition your daily job to somebody else. You don't leave them hanging, because that will come back to bite you longer term if you leave the wrong way. Yeah, because all you've got in this world is your reputation. Yeah. So give 2 weeks. Yeah, and what you can do in your exit when you tell your boss, you could just make sure you explain why you want to leave. A lot of times because of money, and just say that if it's true, you say I've really enjoyed working here. I enjoy the team. I've made a lot of great friendships, and we've done a lot of great things here. However, as you know, it's really expensive in this area to raise a family, and so I'm actually going to be moving on to another company. And if there's anything I can do to help you over the next couple of weeks before I leave, in terms of transitioning this role, let me know. I'm here for you. And even after the fact, when I leave, you please feel free to call me or have anyone on your team call me anytime if I can help with any sort of customer support issues, etc. That's what I would say. And Ramon said, I might be taking that 30-day challenge too. Awesome. I hope you enjoy it. It was fun. And I recorded all of those actually in the Czech Republic. I have this amazing guy named Adad, who makes all of my trailers. He's awesome. He's awesome. And what we're looking at doing actually is we're looking at renting a 747. It's not that expensive. There's a museum called the Hiller Space Museum in close to where I live here in San Francisco. And they have an old 747, the cockpit and the first class lounge and whatever, that they took out of circulation in 1973. So we're looking to rent it. And I'm making another promotional trailer for my MBA degree program. And what happens is this: I'm going to walk out of the cockpit with my cheesy pilot uniform on, my hat and everything. And I'm going to walk into regular class. And I'm going to say, congratulations, you've just been upgraded to business class. And then they come to sit in business class, and I talk about business class. Yeah. And Melody's saying that Adobe Dimensions is awesome. Isn't it fun? I love it. Melody, what you can do is this. So for your Udemy course, if you want to, if you have slides, you can actually do what I did here and use 3D objects, like this sample one that I made earlier today in this webcast, right? So as you go through your slides, use the Morph feature. It looks like that. Pretty cool, eh? Isn't that fun? Yeah, I'm such a nerd. All right. Okay. Next up, Pratap is asking, thank you so much, sir, for answering my question on doing action to achieve my goals. My pleasure. Thank you. And then you wrote here, I'd love to take your 30-day challenge to a more productive course. Thank you. You're most welcome. Thank you. And then next question is, what qualities do you think an individual should have to work on Wall Street? If I graduate, how can I land a job at Wall Street? What skills should I take, like valuation trading, etc.? Yeah. So what people don't realize is that most finance jobs are sales jobs. Almost all jobs are in finance. It's sales. It is. In fact, if you want to be CEO of any company or a successful entrepreneur, you have to learn how to sell. That's what a CEO. They're great salespeople. And so the best way to get a job on Wall Street is to network like crazy. Read this book of mine. It's free. You can go to my website, harouneducation.com, and it'll teach you how to network to get anything you want in life. Yes, anything. Like a job, for example. So I would read this book because it'll help you get your foot in the traffic by networking. And you don't need to have a degree from a high-priced educational institution to get a job on Wall Street. In fact, a lot of the best companies now in the world don't require a degree. You know, like Google, Facebook, Apple, Wells Fargo, with big bank, or IBM. IBM. All these companies don't require you to have a degree. So network a lot, please. Now, in terms of what to learn, I have a course it's over 20 hours long. It's called the Complete Financial Analyst course. You can get it on Udemy or go to my website, harouneducation.com. And in that course, you rotate through the many divisions of my pretend company called MHS, which is Morgan Haroun Sachs. And I think that's enough to get you, to teach you what you need to know in order to get a job to work in finance. Yeah. Just remember that relationships are more important than product knowledge, and your network is your net worth. All right. Next up is Jason, who's saying, hello, Chris. Hey, Jason. Hope you're doing well. Likewise. Chris, I need your advice on how do you make a right decision when you come across a crossroad in your life? How should one approach such a situation? Thanks. Yeah. So the methodology that I use is I quantify decisions. So a lot of times when you have a really tough decision to make in life, you go with your gut and you'll think of qualitative reasons why you should or shouldn't do it. What I like to do is I like to use Excel and quantify it. And I'll show you what that means. So let's go to Excel here. And I'm going to show you how to quantify which path to take in life if you're at a fork in the road. And Yogi Berra once said, when you see a fork in the road, you take it. Okay, so I'm gonna make something up here. Let's say that you have two choices. One is to work at an investment bank, and the other is to work in the consulting sector. Okay, so I'll write here, investment bank job. Okay, that's one decision. And then over here, I'll write consulting job. Okay, which one should you take? Now, you have to consider a lot of factors, okay? A lot of things. And you have to decide, and only you can decide what's important in your life. So right here, I will call this criteria. And this will make more sense to you in a second, okay? Money, okay? Travel, benefits, friends, and let me think one more. Long-term goals. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to rate out of 10 which is better, okay? Using the criteria you see here on the left, okay? So right here, money. Where can you make more money? And I'm making this up, okay? Well, let's say, investment banking job, I'll make a lot of money. That's a 10. Whereas consulting job, I won't make as much. Maybe it's a 7 out of 10, okay? And so all makes sense to you in a second, okay? The bottom line, there'll be this great aha moment. Travel. You're like, well, investment banking, at least for this investment banking job I'm looking at, there's not much travel, and that's a good thing, okay? So, but there's a little bit. So I'll give it 8 out of 10, okay? And then consulting job, I have to travel a lot. Because in consulting, it's like the army. You go to fight on the wherever the war is. Just like you go to the client site wherever the client is. And I used to work in consulting, so I know what that's like. And let's say I don't want to travel very much because I have kids. So screw that, man. 2. Okay. Benefits. Well, aside from money, this investment banking job doesn't have any other benefits. Whereas consulting, I'm getting free healthcare as well for my family. That's great. So investment banking, there's some benefits, 3 out of 10. Consulting, 9 out of 10, actually. Healthcare is great. Yeah. Friends. Let's say, well, I don't have any friends that work at this investment bank. In fact, the people there are jerks. I'm making this up. So I'm going to say 2 out of 10. The consulting gig, I'm like, yeah, I have a lot of buddies there. Great guys. So I'm going to go here, or gals, 10 out of 10. Okay. Then long-term goals. What do I want to do longer term? What is my I want to start my own investment bank. I'm making this up. So obviously it makes sense. This is great for that goal. Consulting wise, it'll help me in business, but it's not going to help me start my own investment bank one day. Okay. Then we can add other criteria too, like fun. Well, the investment banking job's not going to be fun. It's going to suck, but it won't be that bad because I'll learn stuff. So 4 out of 10. Consulting, it's kind of fun actually. Some people are kind of uptight at that office, but it's fun in general. 7 out of 10. Okay. All right. Okay. So you understand what I'm doing here. We're not done yet. Now what we have to do is we need to take a probability or a weighting, I should say. Okay. Weighting. Okay. And I'll show you what this means in a second. Okay, this is for statistics. I spelled it wrong. It's fine. All right. So money. How important is money to me? Out of one. One being very important, 0 being not important at all. Well, money it's important. So I'll say 0.8. Okay, out of 1. Okay, and you'll see why I'm doing that. So this is out of 1. 1 being important, 0 being not important. All right. And then travel. How important is it for me to not travel? Because I want to be there with my girlfriend or whatever it is, and she's the one, and all that stuff. That's pretty damn important. So I'll make that 1 out of 1. Benefits. How important are the benefits, like healthcare and stuff? That's 0.7. I'm pretty young now. I don't know if I really need it yet, but it's important. Friends. How important is what? Yeah, I want to enjoy what I do, but it's not the reason why I want to work in general. 0.6, I guess. Long-term goals. That's pretty important to me. So 0.9, weighting. And then fun. That's important, but yeah, 0.6. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to calculate right here, score. Okay. And then I'll do here, score as well. Okay. And I'll show you what this means. And then we'll get to the bottom line message in a second. This will help you a lot whenever you have a fork in the road. We're quantifying it. So I'm going to take this times the weighting, okay? Paste that down here, okay? So, okay? And I'll do the same thing here. I'll go this times the weighting. Whoops. Done. Whoops. Hold on a second. Almost done. Okay, good. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it up, see who wins, investment banking or consulting. Let me get a little bit more real estate here. Okay, so this we're going to go equals sum, and we'll just sum all this stuff up here. 30.7 is the score for investment banking, and the score for consulting is 29.5. Okay, so it looks like I have to take the investment banking job, but not by much. So what I would do, though, is list many, many more than these 6 criteria here. Like when I do a decision like this, sometimes I have 50 of them or so. And this helps me to quantify what wins. So hopefully that's helpful to you. But whenever you have a tough decision to make in life, don't just look at the qualitative sides of it and go with your gut. You got to quantify it as well. And that strategy I developed for you, which is simplistic using Excel, I think helps a lot. Okay. Next is Cake Synergy Group is saying, God bless you always. I'm glad to be here today to gain insights for your learnings. Thank you. God bless you way more. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. And then Nawali is laughing at MHS. Yeah, Morgan Haroun Sachs. I know it's a little bit ridiculous, that pretend company I made, but it's fun. And when I teach, I have to enjoy it. It's got to be fun as well. Yeah. But I do make an idiot of myself all the time. That's okay. All right, so we got about 10 minutes left. Then we got to wrap up the call because I've got office hours with my MBA degree students. Okay. So next question is hey, Chris. Oh, hold on a second. Hi, Chris. Thanks for your course. I got to know you a few days earlier by fate or luck. Because it does me good. I'm going to take your courses on accounting. Thanks for being here. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you much more for being here. Thank you. All right. And then next up, we've got Desu is saying, hi, Chris. Hope you're doing well. I have a job offer I'd like to work with. However, I feel I deserve more salary than offered. I wish to hear your opinion on what shall I do. Yeah. So everything is negotiable before you start work. And I would calculate how much money you're making right now at your current job, not just salary wise, but benefits too. So take the dollar amount of benefits you're getting as well and add that to your total compensation. So let's say you make $50 a year, for example, but you get $5 per year in healthcare expenses. So your compensation is you're not making $50, you're actually making $55. And so approach the person that's hiring you for the new job and tell them that your current salary is not 50, it's 55, including benefits. And that might help you negotiate as well. And just also you can explain why you need more capital or salary. You can say it's really expensive living where we live now, and I have children, and I want to be able to provide for them. So see if you can get that in terms of benefit. And what they might do is they might say, well, we can give you stock options. That might help out. But I prefer for you to get a bump in base salary instead of options because you're exposed to that company anyway. So if the company does well, you're going to make more money. If it doesn't do well, the stock's going to go down as well. So that's what I would do. I would look at your total compensation where you are now, package-wise, and see if they can match that because you make more than just your base salary. You make other things too, including benefits. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. And if that didn't help, let me know, please. Everything is negotiable before you start. Yeah. Okay. Next up is the Berlin 186 is saying, good course just finished last week. Thank you for your knowledge and easy to understand the way you teach things. Thank you. I think you're talking about my 30-day challenge course. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. You're most welcome in us. And Ashil's saying, thank you so much, Professor Haroun. You're most welcome. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Okay. And next up, Manas is saying, do you believe in exit interviews? I do. I do. So for those who are not familiar with an exit interview, it's when you're leaving a company, you've decided to leave. Before you leave, companies can conduct an exit interview. And so when I decided to leave Goldman Sachs to join a big hedge fund, they had me do an exit interview. And in the exit interview, they asked, why are you leaving? What was your experiences like here? And all that sort of thing. And so at the time it was compensation. I was an idiot chasing money then. By the way, if you chase money, you lose your dreams and your money. If you chase your dreams, as long as you're willing to fail at least a couple times, then what happens is your dreams come true and the money follows accidentally. It always does, no matter what anybody tells you. Think with your heart first. Yeah. So they asked me those questions in the exit interview at Goldman Sachs. And they asked for feedback on how the firm can improve and all that stuff. And what they do is the HR folks, they gather all that information, and it helps to change the company to become more successful if my feedback and the collective feedback of everybody leaving in exit interviews is valid. And back then it was all paper-based. I'm an old man. But now what they do is they enter that information into HR software applications made by companies like Workday or SAP, et cetera. Yeah. All right. Next question is from Gerson, who's saying, hello, how do you do, Chris? God bless you. Thank you. And God bless you much, much more. I'm doing great. Thanks. I'm always great. Every day is great. Thanks. Yeah. Especially when you do what you love doing. And Ramon is saying, what a nerdy way to make a decision. I might be adopting that too. I know, Yeah. So that Excel methodology actually works really, really well. Really well. Yeah. Okay, cool. And next up, Desu is saying, hey, Chris. Hey, how are you? Thank you for your reply. It is the first job offer for me after an internship at Japan, surely with the higher cost of living. Yeah, living in Japan is expensive. And I used to go there every now and then on business. And it was always expensive, but I absolutely loved it. Japan just works well, man. Like when you're at Narita, the airport there, and you get on the subway to go into the city, into Tokyo, when you're standing waiting for the subway to come, there's a little line that says where the door is going to be. And it comes perfectly right at that door. You get into the subways or the trains there. They're almost always on time. Everything works great. It's a model for efficiency. I absolutely love Japan. Yeah. And Manas say, enjoying your vacations. Thank you. I appreciate it. So we've got, next week is week 99, Wayne Gretzky, number 99. And then the week after that is week 100. And then for the first time ever, I'm taking 2 weeks off. First time in a long time, I should say, with the family. We're going to go to Tahoe, which is a beautiful lake about a four-hour drive inland here from the San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah. And then Desu wrote here, similar to what you suggested, I want to negotiate, and I'll be glad if you can provide some tips. Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to negotiating for salary or for anything, you gotta, it's a game. It's a game. So In negotiations, one party wants this, the other party wants this, and of course they end up meeting halfway. If you're Donald Trump, and this is not a political thing, but he usually starts out here, and it's extreme. And he's done a lot of negotiating in the real estate sector in New York, and he wrote this book in 1987 I read called The Art of the Deal. He'll start out here, and it seems crazy, but instead of meeting in the middle, they'll meet a little bit more this way. Right, so it's a game. The thing is, when you're negotiating salary, you can't ask for way too much, otherwise they won't take you seriously. So you got to be intelligent about it. Think about what you want to make and add like 40 or 50% to it, something like that. Okay, and then what will happen is they won't give you the entire amount, but they might meet you part of the way by giving you maybe stock options, more benefits, and slightly higher base salary, and sometimes even a bonus, a signing bonus as well. So that's what I would say. And if you want, what you can do is you can go to glassdoor.com and do a search for what people make in the industry in similar companies. And you can bring that up as well in your interview as well, or your negotiating meeting when it comes to compensation. Yeah. And I would also look into, like, if you're moving from another country to Japan, and if the tax rate is higher in Japan than where you're coming from, then you want to also mention that in your negotiations. And then Mohammed wrote, thanks for being here, Professor. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Desu. Thank you, Manas. And thank you, everybody. Okay, cool. So thank you very much for joining us on our 98th weekly webcast. I'll see you next Thursday and almost every Thursday. I'll see you next Thursday, which is week 99. And then the week after that, week 100, and then I'm taking 2 weeks off. And so what happens with these calls is within 24 hours, my team will actually write up every question and the times. And then you'll be able to go to the description field to automatically get access to the questions if you want to click on the time. So it'll save you time. So thank you very much. If you subscribe to my vlog, I will see you tomorrow as I vlog every day. If not, God bless you all. Have a healthy and happy weekend. Stay safe. And I'll see you next Thursday at 8 a.m. Thank you.